This morning in Atlanta, trying to fend off a Republican challenge.
Well, as a senator, he's failed the Georgia people.
Herschel Walker's trying to give the GOP a 50th Senate seat.
He needs that voter turnout, and if early voting numbers are any indication of what's to come, well, get ready. The Secretary of State's office reports a whopping 1.8 million Georgians voted early or by absentee ballot. That's a quarter of active voters in the Peach State.
That's Fox's Aisha Hasni in Loganville, Georgia. The price of oil is up more than $2, close to $83 a barrel. The same day a cap on Russian oil at $60 goes into effect, imposed by the U.S. and our G7 allies as punishment for the war in Ukraine. Russia says it will only supply oil to those who pay full price, and it's continuing to bomb Ukraine's infrastructure today, cutting off water service in Odessa. Power has been knocked out in many other areas.
And Kherson, despite Russian troops withdrawing there, the now liberated city continues to get shelled. Utility workers are doing their best to restore power amid freezing temperatures, but the daily attacks on civilian structures are causing fires, injuries, and even deaths.
Fox's Jeff Paul in Kyiv. There was also an attack on infrastructure in North Carolina. People spent a second night without power in Moore County. There are 37,000 outages.
Officials say multiple power substations in Moore County were damaged by gunfire. The power outage began just after 7 on Saturday night. Some folks may not get their power back until later this week. No suspects have been identified in connection with the incident, and the FBI is now involved in the investigation.
Fox's Ted Linder. A fight over rights at the Supreme Court today. A web designer who refuses to make wedding sites for same-sex couples based on their Christian faith, challenging Colorado's law. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level. On the go.
Hit and killed. Radar is clear, cloudy and cold. 29 downtown. I'm Kirk Darling. Here's what's trending at 9:02. It was a woman who was hit by a car on the southeast side early this morning. Police saying that woman is dead. They added that the woman was hit as she was walking across Raymond Street near a Churchman Avenue. The driver who hit the woman stayed at the scene to speak with the cops. It's not clear what led up to the collision. Herb Baumeister is known as Indiana's most prolific serial killer. He committed suicide in the mid-90s, and a few years later, some remains were found believed to be some of his victims. Jeff Jellison will be Hamilton County's new coroner next year and says back then tech and manpower limited on IDing them.
And I think that our office didn't have the staff at that point to be able to do that.
Now he says that's changed, and he hopes to reinvigorate the investigation. Indiana's political makeup is in for a major overhaul come 2024, with Senator Mike Braun planning to leave the U.S. Senate to run for governor. Political scientist Andy Downs at Purdue Fort Wayne says it was made clear that Braun is not happy in the U.S. Senate, wanting to be more in charge by himself. However,
even when you're the governor, you're really not the chief executive because there are all those other elected officials around you.
Still, he says Braun, on name recognition alone, already has an upper hand in the GOP primary. As firefighters fought the fire in the cold, the Salvation Army and nearby businesses opened up to help them out. Parker Carlson reports.
Fire spread from one building to another, and parts of it collapsed Saturday night in Columbus. Firefighters worked in the cold to put out the fire, which caused part of one building's facade to collapse onto the ladder of a truck. Nobody was hurt from that or from the fire. Some of the nearby businesses opened up to give coffee and warm the firefighters, who worked around 4 hours into the night. Parker Carlson, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
And the fans say it all.
Man, where do I even begin?
We don't have an offensive line. We have no receivers but one.
I cried. It was embarrassing.
The Colts lost to the Cowboys last night, 54-19. Traffic on the fives, Matt Bear.
All right, Kerr, you mentioned the fatal accident that happened on the south side. Raymond Street has reopened since that crash. Raymond Street between Keystone Avenue and Churchman Avenue. Looking at northbound 65 out at the north split, that is a crash in a work zone. Left lane is blocked. Traffic backed up to Rural Street, Keystone Avenue, and a little bit beyond on westbound 70. And then southbound 37 in Fisher, stop and go traffic 131st Street down to 69. Traffic sponsored by Dell Technologies. Dell's Days of Deals is going on now with savings on select PCs powered by 12th Gen Intel Core processors. Call 877-ASK-DELL. I'm Matt Bear with traffic on the fives. Follow us on Twitter at WIBC Traffic.
Hi, I'm Emmitt Smith. Pro Football Hall of Famer and 3-time champion. Trust me, I know about joint pain.
Pro Football's all-time leading rusher Emmitt Smith talks about chronic joint pain and exciting new regenerative treatments from QC Kinetics.
I know what it's like to fight through pain, but now, you and I, we have help. QC Kinetics.
QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in advanced, all-natural regenerative medicine that can give you lasting relief with no drugs, no downtime, and no surgery. Do you suffer with constant pain from arthritis or injury? Pain in your knees, hips, shoulders, or lower back? Don't assume steroids, pain meds, and surgery are your only options. Regenerative, restorative, natural solutions are now available.
Don't let your joint pain keep you from doing the things you love.
Call QC Kinetics now for a free consultation and learn how regenerative medicine can repair and restore damaged joint tissue.
Make the call to QC Kinetics. Tell them Emmitt Smith sent you.
Call QC Kinetics, 317-559-PAIN. That's 317-559-PAIN. 317-559-PAIN.
Tune in Saturdays 9 to 1 for the Home and Garden Show for plenty of advice and fun. Brought to you by Michaelis. Water, storms, fire, and foundation. Life happens. Michaelis happens to help you through it.
The forecast from the American Standard Heating Weather Center.
Partly cloudy skies, quiet today, a high of around 46. We are mostly cloudy this evening, maybe a stray shower or two overnight, a low down to 40. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Marcus Bailey for 93 WIBC.
28 and cloudy downtown. I'm Kirk Darling on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
The Republican Party in Indiana sees zero problem in record spending, in record taxation.
And Casey Daniels.
You went out there and said, please vote for me. You debated other people on why you're the better person for the position. Suck it up.
This is the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is Monday, December 5th. It is 7 minutes after 9. It is Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. However, Rob Kendall is taking the day off. And in his place, we have the very fabulous Brad Klopfenstein. Thank you so much for coming in today.
Good morning, Casey Daniels. How are you?
I'm good. How about you? You had a little bit of a crawl on your way in down 70, huh?
Yes, thanks. Well, thanks to Matt Baer, I learned that there was trouble brewing downtown in the North Split. So, but I got here just fine.
I'm glad. Did you notice anything different in the studio this morning?
It's cleaner. There's less crazy talk in here.
The twinkling lights behind you? The elves came and decorated for Christmas this weekend.
It looks nice in here.
I wonder who did that. Do you know who did that, Kevin? Yeah.
I have no idea. Maybe Rob came in early. And
Rob came in. He brought the dog in, hung some lights, and then left.
I would like to thank the weekend crew for decorating during their shift here.
Yeah, it's very festive in here today. It looks nice. Well, we start off the show talking about the Twitter files. It's been handled, right?
It has been handled.
Yeah, Elon Musk dumped a string of internal documents revealing Twitter's struggle to handle the Hunter Biden laptop story. Okay, so a couple things. Elon Musk tweeted out on Friday, "This will be awesome," with a little popcorn emoji. And he said it's a lengthy Twitter thread. He enlisted the help of journalist Matt Taibbi, detailing internal documents that Musk apparently gave to Taibbi. And they revealed some requests from President Biden's campaign, also requests from Donald Trump's White House, and they were asking for certain tweets to be deleted. So the fact that Elon is releasing these documents, providing transparency on one of the most influential social media outlets. Some people are a little upset about this. They're acting like Twitter should be held to the same standard as journalists, but here's the fact. Twitter is not a journalism platform. Is it biased? Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But it's not held to the same standards as a journalist. So here's a take on this. News outlets used to tell you the facts and you would decide your opinion. Now, they give you an opinion and you're left to decide the facts. And Elon is now allowing us to make up our own minds based on openness and clarity. He's giving us the receipts.
So how can people hold Twitter to journalistic accountability when 100% of their content is generated from people just like me and you most of those people are crazier.
Mm-hmm.
They exist to generate content. Doesn't matter what it is. They hope that it's interesting. But the fact is, to go to Twitter and expect it to be non-biased is ridiculous. And I mean, they're in the business to do. They might have a spin, and if they have a spin, that's fine. It is a free service. Mm-hmm. I liken it to, I used to sell for Monarch Beverage. I used to sell beer, and I had Miller and Coors products. We did not sell Budweiser. People were not allowed to bring Budweiser to my house. Those are my house rules. Mm-hmm. If you don't like my house rules, you can drink somewhere else.
Yeah.
Same with Twitter. If you don't like the Twitter rules, you don't like how they're handling their platform,
don't consume it. Don't
go there. There's Facebook, there's Instagram, there's a litany of other places you can go. You can have a sign and hang out on the circle if you want.
So Elon's being praised by liberty-loving people and vilified by those who are not happy with the information getting out. But he's exposing corruption, fighting pedophilia, fighting for free speech. Trying to send us to space.
For or against pedophilia?
Against. Okay, so he's concerned about democracy, free speech, the environment, the survival of our country. So here's the question. What have you done today? I mean, are you feeling just a little bit inadequate when you think of everything that Elon Musk is doing? He says the Biden administration violated the First Amendment. And in a tweet he sent out, he said Twitter acting by itself to suppress free speech is not a First Amendment violation, but acting under orders from the government to suppress free speech with no judicial review is.
Kevin, do we have a bell that you can ring? We need a ding, 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 ding.
I can look for one.
No, it's okay. I didn't know Casey was going to drop that in my lap. But yes, that's absolutely correct.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, and again, it goes back to, you go to a bar, you drink whatever you want. You come to my house, you drink what I have.
Okay, so I'm going to liken Elon Musk to someone of the past. This guy's name is Jacob Riis, and he, by many, is considered the father of photography. Now, follow me with this, okay? He was around in the late 1800s, and him and this guy, Thomas Burns, who invented the Rhodes Gallery, which is a collection of photographs of known criminals. We would know the Rhodes Gallery as modern-day mugshots. So Jacob Riis was a photographer and also a crime reporter. And what he did was he put the spotlight on slums in New York City. He also wrote a book, How the Other Half Live. So he demonstrated deplorable conditions, right? He was representing another reality to people, and he forced Americans to confront these issues. And isn't that exactly what Elon Musk is doing? He's forcing us to have these conversations, to accept the reality of what actually happened. And that is the trademark of an entrepreneur. Always be curious, always ask questions. Always, what if? What if I press this button? What's going to happen? What if I release these tweets? What will happen? And here we are determining what will happen.
Elon Musk, he is a genius. He's proven himself to be a genius. And fortunately, he has a few $1 billion to throw away if this doesn't work out. But more people are talking about Twitter right now than ever, and more people are tuning into Twitter than ever. I've still never quite understood how Twitter monetizes itself.
Through all of the advertisers that all left, but are all now returning, coming back as they see usage growing.
So there is now curiosity on this platform, whereas before it was just kind of being vilified. Mm-hmm. Good for Elon. You know what? He bought this. It's an asset. He can do what he wants with it. It's kind of like going out and buying a sports car. You can race it and wreck it, or you can take care of it and put it in a museum, but it is your car. Do what you want.
My question for Elon is, what does he want to focus on next? Because whatever it is, he gets people talking.
He does.
Now, Donald Trump, of course, responded. He called for a new election and the termination of rules and regulations and even articles of those written in the Constitution. This is wholly ridiculous.
Can he please go away? Casey, he is killing me. For anybody out there who thinks that he stands for small government or liberty, absolutely not. He doesn't care about the Constitution. It is just something that is in his way, and he is absolutely tearing America apart.
Now, you're not going to see any of this story above the fold. Mainstream media completely ignored it. To make Twitter legitimate, Elon says they must come clean from their past. And he said, despite the censorship from Twitter, mainstream media is just an arm of the left-wing media. And the networks gave zero coverage of this. ABC, CBS, NBC. How much time do you think they spent on this Friday or Saturday?
Oh.
How many minutes? Just take a guess.
30 seconds, maybe?
Zero.
Okay.
Zero time.
Well, and all the national news has turned into quasi-tabloid news. It's about like TMZ anymore, and I think that everybody's in a race to do that. And it's because the ratings are down. It's typically only people over 50 that consume national news. They're trying to remain relevant, but there's so many other opportunities for people to consume news and get their own news that feeds their own narrative. So, yes, the people who are at CBS, NBC, ABC, do they lean left? Absolutely. It's because they come through journalism schools. They're typically at liberal universities. That's how they get there. The fact that WIBC leans right is an anomaly in that universe.
Okay, so let's go down memory lane. You'll probably recall all of this audio. Here's Joe Biden saying the incriminating emails on Hunter's laptop, it was just a smear campaign and a bunch of garbage.
50 former national intelligence folks who said that what he's accusing me of is a Russian plant. They have said that this has all the 5 former heads of the CIA, both parties, say what he's saying is a bunch of garbage.
This is classic Trump. We have 4 days left, and all of a sudden there's a laptop. There's overwhelming evidence that from the intelligence community that the Russians are engaged.
I still think that the stories from the fall about your son Hunter were Russian disinformation and a smear campaign, like you said.
Yes. I know you'd ask it. I have no response. It's another smear campaign. It's the last-ditch effort in this desperate campaign to smear me and my family. The vast majority of the intelligence people have come out and said there's no basis at all.
Okay, so the vast majority of intelligence people have come out and said there's no basis at all. Well, if that's the case, this is the president giving an incredibly damning indictment of our intelligence community.
Absolutely. There's something here, and the national media does need to put some focus on this. I look at this, to have a sitting president, he'd been a vice president. Is his son a mess? Absolutely, his son is a mess. Is there something here? Absolutely. Hunter Biden enriched himself. My guess is Joe Biden probably enriched himself.
Probably? You're still questioning?
Journalistic integrity.
Okay. Multiple times, the president emphatically stated the position of the intelligence community, which we now know has been proven wrong. It's 18 minutes after 9. It's Kendall and Casey with Brad on 93 WIBC. Good morning.
Hammer and Nigel.
A poll of 2,000 Americans, Hammer, found people who enjoy spicy food are more likely to think they're hot.
Okay.
62% of spicy food lovers find themselves attractive.
And that makes sense because I enjoy spicy food, and hot damn am I sexy.
Hammer and Nigel, weekdays 3 till 7 on 93 WIBC and WIBC.com.
Say it ain't snow. December's here, and it's one of the busiest times of the year. With people out getting gifts, Christmas trees needing to be decorated, and families coming over for the holidays, when in the world is there time to clean the floors and carpets? Well, don't let that stress you. Treat yourself to a zero-res cleaning this season. I love these folks because of their patented ZR water. It cleans my home's carpets, tiles, hardwood floors, and more without harsh chemicals and detergents. Not only that, these zero-res folks are first class in every way. Their team of knowledgeable technicians will always walk you through the entire carpet cleaning process and make sure you're completely satisfied before they leave. And remember, best of all, there is absolutely no soapy residues. If you call Zero Res today, mention WIBC, and you'll get 3 rooms of carpet clean for only $149. It's pretty easy to get it all set up. Call 317-388-5141 or schedule your appointment at ZeroResIndy.com and treat yourself to a smarter, lasting carpet clean.
Drip. Drip. Drip.
Annoying, isn't it?
Drip.
It's even worse when it's coming from your fireplace.
Drip.
That water stain on the ceiling isn't going to fix itself. Call Chimney Solutions Indiana. Their certified technicians will make sure your fireplace is ready for reliable comfort this season. Stop the
drip.
Call the experts trusted by thousands of Indiana homeowners. Call Chimney Solutions Indiana at 317-757-6979 or go to chimneyindy.com.
With inflation on the rise, you may be charging more to your credit card. But be careful. That increased debt can cause your credit score to suffer.
Don't get stuck with a low credit score and a mountain of high-interest credit card debt. Call Golden Oak Lending now.
Refinance with our low rates to wipe out your high-interest credit card debt and put extra cash in your pocket. Call 317-706-GOLD.
Golden Oak Lending cured my blues.
NMLS 114937.
Diamonds Direct is giving you one more holiday gift of 25% savings just in time for Christmas. A last-minute sale on all earrings this weekend. Save an unprecedented 25% off all earrings at Diamonds Direct. Diamond stud earrings, sapphire earrings, gold earrings. Get Diamonds Direct's unbeatable price plus an extra 25% savings. Biggest discounts of the year. Special financing too. It's Friday through Sunday only. A truly epic earring event at Diamonds Direct.
When you can't stop, there's Vicks VapoRub. Vicks VapoRub sends powerful medicated Vicks vapors right to the source of your... so you can experience cough relief and breathe easier. Generations of families have trusted Vicks VapoRub to help relieve the worst cold symptoms. So next time you have a cough, reach for the Vicks VapoRub. Vicks VapoRub. Cough relieving is believing.
I always wanted to learn Spanish, but I never thought I'd have the time. Then I discovered Babbel.
Babbel's lessons are fun. They only take like 10 or 15 minutes, and in 3 weeks, presto, you're starting to speak another language, like magic.
I love that Babbel's lessons aren't just robots talking. They're voiced by native speakers, so you get the pronunciation just right.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than
Babbel.
Babbel.
Babbel. Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's BABBEL.com. Babbel.com.
Inside Indiana Business Radio, the news you need to get ahead. Indiana's business news leader, weekdays at 6:32 a.m. and 5:56 p.m. on WIBC.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
This guy's really hardcore, highly fanatical.
And Casey Daniels.
I love her! I trust her!
On 93 WIBC.
Monday. So good to me.
So good to you. If your name is Rob Kendall, he has the day off today, and good for him. He deserves it. He told me he was going to spend the day sleeping. A couple people on the YouTube chat are trying to figure out if he's watching. I hope he's not. Honestly, I hope he just unplugged and is not doing anything other than just relaxing.
Are you talking about the Rob Kendall that sits in the chair I'm in right now?
We know he's not relaxing.
He has the YouTube feed up and he's listening to us on the air.
I hope not. Go back to sleep, Rob. It is 23 minutes after 9. My name is Casey Daniels. That's Brad Klappenstein filling in for Rob today. Let's take a look at some of the trending stories. Sesame Street icon Bob McGrath passed away. He started on the show in 1967, continued on for 47 seasons. He died at the age of 90. Did you watch Sesame Street growing up?
All the time growing up. Sesame Street and Mr. Rogers.
Yeah, did you have a favorite character on Sesame Street?
Cookie Monster, the Snuffleupagus, Big Bird.
Yeah, I always liked Elmo. He was one of the newer characters, but also Oscar the Grouch in his trash can.
Now, so you have children, which I do not, so you got to have round 2 of Sesame Street.
Well, that's what I'm saying with Elmo. Kind of came back out in the talking doll, talking Elmo. That was the thing around my place when my daughter was young. Also trending, Chris Christie's niece She is 25 years old. She was arrested and accused of biting an officer on Spirit Airlines after a fight broke out when she accused a Latino family of smuggling cocaine. So here's the question. Is this a case where everybody has a crazy member in their family, the black sheep, or are airlines just complete circuses now that we're all at our wits' end?
It is both.
Yeah.
So, yes, Chris Christie should not be held accountable for his 25-year-old niece saying, that's not my cocaine, it's their cocaine.
Yeah.
Which is probably what happened.
Sounds like somebody was instigating a fight. Somebody was looking for a fight. Finally trending, Axl Rose. Typically, at the end of his concerts, Axl Rose would throw the microphone out into the crowd. This time, however, it hit a woman in the face and resulted in 2 black eyes. Axl Rose found out about it. He put out a press release and said, "I'm sorry, I'm not going to be doing that anymore." So have we lost our sense of toughness? Or should this woman have been paying better attention to what's going to happen on the stage?
But I didn't know that he always threw a microphone out into the crowd. That just seems to be a bad idea.
Yeah, he's just inviting trouble in with that, right?
Microphones are kind of expensive. And they're
Good point.
they're heavy. I mean, yeah, you might want to come up with something that is a little softer. How about a Nerf hoop?
Yeah,
or a Nerf ball.
You know what? If she's getting hit in the face, she probably had some pretty good seats to the show.
Yeah, she's definitely within range of him throwing it out there, and she's not paying attention, or hand-eye coordination is poor.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it is 26 minutes after 9. He's Brad Kloffenstein in for Rob Kendall today. My name is Casey Daniels, and let's talk about something that happened Friday when Rob and I got off the air, and by today, it was all wrapped up, and that is the fact that the governor, Eric Holcomb, was in the hospital. He went in for what he thought was just an illness or the flu, and then he was diagnosed with pneumonia. And they said, out of an abundance of caution, he was admitted to the hospital and responded well to treatment. He was released, and now he's resting at home. So how much is reasonable to know about the health of our elected officials?
That's a good question. First, Governor, I wish you well. I hope that you're back up and on your feet soon. But you're right. I heard that rumor about the same time you did on Friday. Mm-hmm. I know Thursday during the day, I saw at least one picture of the governor. I think he was breaking ground on something up north. Mm-hmm. So he was at least out and about some on Thursday. I don't know. I guess we need to make sure that our elected officials are not incapacitated. We need to have enough information to know that they can do their job. Mm-hmm. But yeah, if he would have just had the flu, we would have never heard anything about this.
Right.
But it ended up being pneumonia, which is obviously a little bit bigger deal. So I don't know. I guess it depends on who the public official is and what that means for their ability to do the job. Probably he should have just been allowed to have pneumonia on his own and
not have us know about it and talk about it.
Yeah, but
there's currently no law that says they have to release any medical records, kind of like their tax returns. There's no law. So I'm okay with it. I don't want there to be a ruling on this, like you must show us, because if you do reveal your medical records, like your tax returns, deal with the consequences.
Yeah.
If you don't release them, deal with the consequences, just like we've seen with John Fetterman and, you know, many people questioning Joe Biden as well. I'm curious if Eric Holcomb had to deal with any supply chain issues or staff shortages while he was in the hospital, because that is something that many hospitals are currently still dealing with as a result of lockdowns, which Holcomb perpetuated.
Yeah, well, and I know with the respiratory virus that's going around, especially with children, that there's a lot of antibiotics out there that are difficult to come by. Yeah, I would like to know, did all the drugs that he need, were they readily available? Mm-hmm. Wonder what hospital he went to. If he was up in northern Indiana on Thursday, did he go to a northern Indiana hospital? Did he come back home and then say, hey, I'm not feeling very well, let's go see someplace in Indianapolis? Yeah, I would be curious to hear his story. Maybe we should invite him on to tell his story.
Maybe next Monday when Rob's not here. Kurt Darling is sitting by with the news. And up next, we're going to talk with Mel. McMahon.
Mel McMahon.
Hi, Mel. She's been around the building for a very long time. We've got Radiothon coming up with WIBC, but I'm new to it, so she's going to give us the full skinny on it on the way from 93 WIBC. Good morning.
Over the past few years, many WIBC listeners have found a home at Life Church because Life Church has a lot in common with the WIBC audience. Life Church cares about the stewardship of our nation. Life Church does not shy away from addressing the hard cultural issues of the day. With campuses in Noblesville, Fishers, Eagle Creek, and Pendleton, learn more why Life Church might be a great home for you by visiting their website at lifechurchin.com.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Soon it'll be over. Cloudy and 31 downtown. I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending at 9:30. In Georgia, the final day of campaigning for Raphael Warnock and Herschel Walker, as both men hope to swing enough votes to win a runoff election for U.S. Senate.
Both men will be out on the campaign trail today as they try to end a painfully negative election cycle. Walker will continue his Evict Warnock bus tour this morning here in Flowery Branch, Georgia, and he'll continue on to 4 more stops across the state as he tries to energize voters ahead of Election Day. Warnock has a busy day as well. The senator will visit a Teamsters Get Out the Vote work site in Atlanta this morning, and he'll also hold a Students for Warnock rally at Georgia Tech with Georgia's other Senator John Ossoff. And the message from both is this runoff is bigger than politics.
Fox's Charles Watson. The Supreme Court set to hear arguments today on whether businesses may turn down services to same-sex weddings. The case involves a Colorado designer who wants to decline to create a wedding website for a same-sex couple because those marriages are in conflicting views with her religious beliefs. A ruling expected by June of next year. And now the stocks to start the week. The Dow is down 222 points to 34,237. The Nasdaq down 73 to 11,936. And the S&P 500 is down 27 to 4,048. I'm Kurt Darling on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Introducing Spectrum One. Get Spectrum Internet with speeds of 300 megabits per second. Advanced Wi-Fi with best-in-class security and privacy. Spectrum Mobile with unlimited talk, text, and data plus nationwide 5G. Get it all with Spectrum One. Spectrum Internet, advanced Wi-Fi, and one line of Spectrum Mobile Unlimited for only $49.99 a month. Visit Spectrum.com or a Spectrum store today. Valid for qualified residential customers only. Service not available in all areas. Restrictions apply.
You can make a difference. Marshall Mechanical Heating and Cooling, your local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer in Johnson County, invites customers and the community to join its team in donating to the Good Cheer Fund of Johnson County. Marshall will donate $10 for every service call through December 12th. The Marshall team will also be collecting monetary and canned food donations and assisting with basket stuffing and delivery. Support your neighbors in need with good cheer. Schedule your next service appointment at callthemarshallnow.com.
Today, people are looking for food products that are both nutritious and sustainable. And that's why, more than ever, Indiana's pig farmers are working to make pork a leading sustainable protein by caring for their animals and the environment with the highest ethical standards. The truth is, sustainability adds value for those who buy pork and builds a better future for those who grow it. Learn more at porkcares.org. Brought to you by Indiana's pig farmers.
We don't care if you're a donkey or an elephant. We don't care if you're white collar, blue collar, or no collar. We don't care how old you are, what gender you are, or how much melanin you have in your skin. At Hancock Health, we care about just one thing: giving you everything you need to make health possible in your life, whatever kind of beautiful human being you are. Learn more about our healthcare network, one built just for you, at hancockhealth.org.
Hey, it's Rob. After years of struggling with thinning hair, I was ready to grow my hair back. That's why I went to We Grow Hair Indy. Here's Darren Andrews to tell you more.
For over 20 years, we've been restoring hair for men and women with every type of hair loss and every ethnicity. No matter the reason for your hair loss, we're here to help. And our friend Rajiv Ram two-time Olympian and tennis professional, can attest to this.
I wanted more hair, and they have the best technology there is for it. We Grow Hair Indy cared about me and did exactly what they said they would. The results have been amazing.
With We Grow Hair Indy's trademarked multi-unit hair grafting, I got more hair with a single procedure. People tell me all the time how great my hair looks, and yours can too. Call now for your free evaluation and grow your hair back. Call 888-724-5129. That's 888-724-5129. Or go to WeGrowHairIndy.com, the gold standard in hair restoration.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
Outside is frightful, but the fire is so delightful.
9:35, it is Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. Filling in for Rob today is Brad Kloffenstein, and a familiar voice to our listeners is joining us in the studio. It's Mel McMahon. Okay, Mel, you worked here at WIBC for many years, so a lot of people are familiar with you.
Yeah, I was here for a long time. Did afternoons and mornings and weekends, so you couldn't get away from me, really.
They put you to work.
Sorry about that.
Right now, you're serving as the executive producer of Radiothon, and that begins on Friday here at WIBC. And I'm the new kid, so you're the one with all the experience in this. What is Radiothon?
Well, first of all, I'm so excited to meet you in person. Been listening since you came on, and it's lovely to meet you. And I'm so excited for you to have your first WIBC Radiothon for the Salvation Army, because it is so much fun. It's so rewarding, and it's for such a good cause. So 28 years ago, the Radiothon started as just a few hours on the circle, seeing if they could raise some money. I think maybe they got $500, and it has grown into a 36-hour on-air campaign where last year we raised a record-breaking $426,000 for kids in Central Indiana.
That's fantastic.
It was amazing. It was amazing. And it's grown over the years. It's changed a lot.
It's evolved.
But it's improvement, right? So when I first took over as executive producer, that was in 2011, because here on staff, I would help with, getting bands in the studio, helping with content, those kinds of things. And in 2011, I actually took a full-time job with the Salvation Army when I was part-time here. So I kind of flip-flop back and forth.
Yeah.
But I became the executive producer, and that first year, it was a 3-day live the entire time event, and we did about $146,000.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I get this now, right?
Yeah.
That was like my second year really watching it. So the next year, we did $196,000.
Perfect.
Then next year we did $249,000, and it just kept growing, and we kept making it more efficient, kept changing the roles a little bit so they would just be a little easier to, because you had like 50 something people when we first started Radiothon. Now we're to a very efficient crew. Everybody knows what their role is, and we have not increased anyone's job responsibilities.
Yeah.
So I consider that a win in itself, because being a part of it, being on the air, being a volunteer, putting together as staff. You have to want to do it, because that's how we're successful, right? You have to have happy people willing to answer the phones. You have happy people ringing that bell, and you have to have happy hosts who want to be there. And so a big part of my role is helping you share the stories, right? Sad doesn't sell. We want to hear the hope, right? How has the Salvation Army helped 30 million Americans overcome poverty, addiction, hardship? Right? How are these kids doing after school programs? How are they getting help? And that's the stories we're going to be sharing. And then we need our listeners to call in and donate that money so the Salvation Army can get their job done, because we don't want the government taking care of these people. They don't really know what they're doing, do they? Right. But the Salvation Army sure does.
Okay, so what time does it start on Friday?
So we kick off at 6 a.m.
Okay, with
We're
Tony
live
Katz.
at Sullivan. Actually, Tony's taking the day off.
Oh, perfect. Of course he is.
So Terry Stacey and then Eric Allen from our sister station B105.7 are going to kick things off with me. We'll be at Sullivan Hardware and Garden at 71st and Keystone, and we are live there the entire event. So we'll start at 6 a.m. Friday, and we are on the air until 6 p.m. Saturday. So we have a 36-hour window to raise
as much money as possible.
As much money as possible.
Do you like to put a number on it? Because I know a lot of fundraisers don't like to say a number, because if you start to get close to the number, then donations start to go down.
So part of the reason I work for myself now and I don't have a boss is because I don't like doing things the way they want it done. So they will say, we're going to raise like $400,000. I'm like, no, we're not. We're raising $450,000. And then in the back of my head, I'm like, oh my gosh, could we hit $500,000 this year?
Yeah.
Because if you look at the pattern, like look at the data, we've gone up at least $50,000 every year, right? So I actually left to come back to MS full time, and I left the Salvation Army with Radiothon. And the next year they did $270,000, so more than I left them with. Then it kind of stuck at $250,000 for a few years. So they asked me back in 2019, and everyone's like, it's, you can get $250,000. Like, just try to get $250,000. Right.
Yeah.
So we did $315,000.
Oh, you're the key to the success.
Then
at
in
least part of it,
2020,
right?
I do love leading the team, but it is a team effort.
Hey, speaking of team, Kevin, your band is going to be playing on Saturday at Sullivan's Hardware, right?
Yeah, we'll be playing at 3 p.m. We've done it a couple times in the past, and it's always a fun time. I love playing in the greenhouse there at Sullivan Hardware.
So he's donating his time.
Yeah.
And that's part of it. A lot of people donating their time because you need a lot of volunteers to make this happen, don't you?
Yeah, and we still have lots of openings on Saturday.
Okay.
So we still need people to answer the phones. We still need bell ringers, random runners from the stage to get all the things that we need. Because I'm on the stage with the host the whole time. So I'll be with you during your entire show.
Perfect.
And my job is to really make sure you have the information that you need, make sure all the guests are lined up. If we need drinks or coffee, I'm always waving like runners come bring us stuff. And it takes a lot of really dedicated people to make this successful. So we do still have some holes. So if you want to volunteer, mel@indianaowned.com is my email address. Send me an email and I will connect you with Kathy to make sure we get those spots filled in because they're really important.
Okay, talk to me about the Salvation Army. That's who benefits from this event. Why the Salvation Army? What do they stand for?
So the Salvation Army serves everyone without discrimination. And there's no way that you can serve more than 30 million Americans without that, right? Without that as your mission. And so it could be someone who needs gifts for their kids at Christmas. It could be a safe place to go after school. It could be protection from domestic violence. It could be finding you housing after your house burned down. Wherever the need is, the Salvation Army will be there. And that's why I support them.
You said something off the air, soup, soap, salvation. Tell me about that. Explain that. Expound on that more.
So that's something that's a little different for the Salvation Army than some other Christian-based organizations. They don't make you sign a paper that says, I'm going to accept Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior before they help you. And that does happen, right? So the Salvation Army truly believes that no one's going to help themselves if they don't know where their next meal's coming from.
Yeah.
No one's going to help themselves if they don't know where they're going to lay their head down that night. So it's soup first, then soap. Then if you choose salvation, they will help you with that too.
It sounds fantastic.
So how do you find your recipients and how broad of a range do they go from central Indiana?
So central Indiana is, Marion County and all the surrounding counties, but the Salvation Army is in the entire division, so all 92 counties.
Okay.
It is in every single zip code in the United States, and it is in almost every single country in the entire world.
Wow.
It is a worldwide organization. Every country does things a little differently, right? And so international might do things different than the United States, which might do things different than the division, which might do things a little different than central Indiana, but it's designed that way because everyone's need is different. There's no blanket recipe for how to help people, right? You have to tailor things to the community that you're serving. And that's what the Salvation Army is really, really good at.
Now, is all of the money raised staying in Marion County or is it staying in Indiana?
So what's raised here stays here. So we now have...
People love that.
Yes, exactly.
You don't want to give to something that's going across the country and not affecting the community you live in.
It's very interesting if you look up the rates for nonprofits of where your dollar actually goes. So when you donate to the Salvation Army, that money stays here, right? It stays in your community. It even goes by zip code, depending on what we're doing, right? If you donate to a disaster, it goes to that disaster. It does not go into some big pot that they can use for some disaster later. Sometimes that's a good thing. Sometimes it's not such a good thing, right? But the community is so generous and they do such a good job of taking care of our own that's what makes the Salvation Army be able to keep going day by day by day, because there's such a need. And they're helping when you don't even realize it.
Why did you get involved with the Salvation Army? You could have picked any charitable organization, and there's plenty of them.
The Salvation Army helped me put my life back together after my daughter died.
Oh.
Casey, this is getting to me. This is a new story for you, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But in 2008, I was sitting in the room behind us, and I got a phone call that my daughter wasn't breathing when I was on the air. And I was so broken after that I actually left radio.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't fake my life on the air every day. Everybody wanted me to have a good day, and I just wasn't.
Yeah.
And at that time, I was already a spokesperson for the Salvation Army. I was going to churches and schools and telling people about the great work the Salvation Army was doing because I met them through Radiothon before I was leading it. And there was a point where I needed to decide, like, okay, I can't bum around anymore. I have to get a job. I have to keep moving. And at the time I had a non-compete, which meant I couldn't work at a different station. And I knew I wasn't ready to go back on the air. Mm-hmm. And that's when the Salvation Army asked me to take over Radiothon and come be their corporate relations coordinator.
They saved you.
And that's what I did. And they helped heal my heart. And they helped me put my life back together. And that's what I mean by they meet you where the need is.
God bless you.
There was no script for that for them, right? That's not in some book somewhere. And they didn't even know I needed that. And that is why I am so passionate about the work that they do, because they healed me and I've seen them heal others. And it is a scary, scary thought to think about what this world would look like if the Salvation Army wasn't there.
Hugs as soon as we're done. Yeah. Mel, thank you so much for sharing that.
Thank you.
Thank you for doing what you're doing. And this starts Friday, 6 a.m. Is there a phone number?
Yes, we have a new phone number this year.
Yeah.
You ready for it?
I'm ready for it.
It's so easy. Casey, you're going to have no idea. I'll let you know what the old phone number was when we're off the air.
Okay.
The phone number to call will be 833-855-9393. And you can donate online right now at WIBCRadiothon.com.
1-833-855-9393. Mel, thank you so much for coming in. You're beautiful.
Thank you so much for having me.
We appreciate what
honored.
you're doing. And we're going to count on all of our WIBC listeners to help us raise as much money as possible to help people in need.
Yep, it's for the kids.
Yeah.
It's all about the kids.
It is 93 WIBC. Good morning.
Hammer and Nigel show, 3 o'clock this afternoon. Biggest stories of the day, and Guy Relford joins us in studio. We'll talk a little Delphi. 93 WIBC.
There's a lot of sexy content on the internet. And there's WIBC, full of faces meant for radio. Hammer and Nigel, Kendall and Casey. Okay, Casey could be on TV. Now streaming every day on YouTube. Go to youtube.com/WIBC.
Planning for retirement all comes down to what matters most for you. Is it a vacation home? Is it traveling the globe? You could call the team at Howard Bailey Financial to help you plan for your retirement and to help you have a successful and fulfilling retirement. Great things in business are never done by one person. They're done by a team of people, and I'm excited to share that Singer Financial is now Howard Bailey Financial, an Indiana-based retirement planning firm.
The Howard Bailey team possesses credibility at both an ethical and professional standpoint. They will deliver you a customized framework that allows you to create the meaning of retirement. Whatever you visualize retirement to be, let the Howard Bailey team customize a plan specifically for you. If you're ready for your best retirement, come forward and see the Howard Bailey difference.
Investment advisory services may be offered through Howard Bailey Securities, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Working with Howard Bailey Securities, LLC cannot guarantee investment success or that specific financial goals will be achieved.
There's the good parts we all think about. The crackling of wood on a cold winter night, the warmth and glow in the room. And then there's the other part. The stale campfire smell, the potentially dangerous creosote buildup. It's easy to forget about the importance of fireplace maintenance. The certified professionals at Chimney Solutions Indiana can keep your fireplace clean and safe using trusted products and repair techniques. Call 317-757-6979 or go to chimneyindy.com.
Garage door problems? Call today for service today. Garage Doors of Indianapolis has been solving garage door problems for 33 years. Call today for service today. 875-4577. Garage Doors of Indianapolis services all makes of garage doors 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Call today for service today. Get it fixed right now. Call Garage Doors of Indianapolis at 875-4577 or visit doorstoday.com.
In the morning, call 875-4577. For service today.
The Inflation Reduction Act made more subsidy money available to help qualified people who don't get health insurance on the job and early retirees afford their Obamacare plans. At myhealthinsurance.com, they specialize in helping you find the right plan that works best for you. Visit myhealthinsurance.com to see if you're eligible for a subsidy. Shop and enroll online or find a local licensed insurance agent. myhealthinsurance.com is a brand owned by IHC Specialty Benefits Incorporated, an independent licensed insurance agency. myhealthinsurance.com.
Here's an unexpected holiday surprise for all the last-minute shoppers. This weekend, all of Diamonds Direct's earrings are 25% off. That's right, all earrings. An incredible 25% off. Diamond studs, diamond hoops, colored gemstone earrings, designer earrings, all earrings included. Who wouldn't love a beautiful pair of diamond stud earrings for Christmas? Make it happen this weekend and save an unprecedented 25%. Best prices of 2022. Special financing available too. Friday through Sunday only, and only at Diamonds Direct.
Dell Technologies' Days of Deals for Business start now with fresh, limited quantity deals on tech to drive productivity. Save on select performance laptops and desktops powered by 12th Gen Intel Core processors. Don't forget special pricing on the latest monitors, docks, and accessories, plus free shipping on everything, and special financing with Dell Business Credit. Call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL.
The latest local news, commentary from Tony Katz, Kendall and Casey,
5.6%
Hammer and Nigel,
Biden.
Podcasts. Listen to the station live whenever, wherever, online at WIBC.com.
NIPSCO and other Indiana utilities are attempting to raise rates. Oh boy, it is 9:51. It is Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC, and filling in for Rob today is Brad Kloffenstein. Okay, so the public's going to get a chance to weigh in on NIPSCO's latest proposed electricity rate hike. They're expected to raise the average monthly electricity bill from $107 to $133. They've got this public hearing coming up on December 12th in Hammond and also January 4th in Valpo. You can also write. You can submit written comments if you'd like. Let them know how you feel about this. Okay, so the utility serves more than it's over 450,000 customers across northern Indiana. And is this the right time for this, Brad?
It might seem a little tone deaf. I don't know. I'd like to hear a little bit more about why they think that this is necessary. That seems like a pretty substantial jump in rates. My guess is, and unfortunately, I think a lot of EPA regulations are behind this. Pretty much the Biden EPA is forcing all power utilities to get rid of coal and, for that matter, get rid of a lot of natural gas. And as we've learned, renewables are not necessarily as cheap as they bill themselves.
And that's part of it. They're saying they're seeking higher electricity rates to fund infrastructure projects, including moving from coal-fired generating fleet to renewable energy sources like wind and solar operations, which are now under construction.
What the man got to do to build a hydroelectric dam around this state anymore?
So that's the thing. The Green Dream now is going to be affecting many people's electricity bills.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, yeah, all these things come with a cost. And, you know, I am a small-time investor in Peabody Energy, which is a coal producer down in southern Indiana. And I know their stock's been doing really well lately. And some of it is, I think that these renewables, people are realizing, are not as cheap and not as dreamy and reliable as they'd once thought. And anybody who's still producing via coal, they're doing everything they can to keep the coal online, just because otherwise prices are going to go up. But I'm sure that this is a way NIPSCO is getting around that, to try to build them a little buffer in so that they can potentially go into some more renewables. But the fact is, at least right now, it's fossil fuels generate the bulk of the energy in the United States.
I want to talk about Stacey Abrams for just a second. So this is a twice failed Georgia Democrat gubernatorial candidate. And she can't win an election. So what is she doing now? She's lobbying the Biden White House to be the next nominee for the Federal Communications Commission, right? So she can't win elections. Now she wants to move to being appointed. If you can't win by the people, go beg somebody else. I mean, this is
Pete Buttigieg.
Someone who's just cannot get out of the government circle.
No, she wants it. Should we invite her in to sit in one of these chairs?
No. Her only desire is to work in a government. Get off of the government teat. Go get a real job. It's a presidential appointment. It's not congressional. So Biden can say, yeah, come on in. And the FCC is an independent U.S. government regulatory agency that oversees all interstate and international communications. I'm FCC licensed, by the way.
Do you have is it like a driver's license? Does it have your picture on it?
It is. It doesn't have my picture on it, but it does have my signature on it. And at one point, when I first started in radio, disc jockeys and operators and people on the air had to be licensed.
They always said that they could pull your license.
Yeah, I don't think that that's a requirement anymore.
If so, I'm driving without a license right now.
You're riding dirty, huh? So let's talk about some of the ramifications if Stacey Abrams were to become one of the commissioners. So there's 5 commissioners on the FCC, 3 from the party in power, 2 come from the non-party in power. And one of the 5 is always the chairman, which always comes from the party in power. And they oversee anything that emits RF, TV, radio, remote controls. They regulate the frequencies that cell phones use. Their top priority right now, one of them, is to ensure that the public can always reach 911 in case of an emergency. And they're also working right now to combat robocalls and malicious caller ID spoofing. And they say that their top consumer protection is a priority for the agency. But if Stacey Abrams were to become a commissioner on the FCC, would she try to bring the Fairness Doctrine back? And that means the Fairness Doctrine went away in the late 80s, I believe 1987. And it's because the Fairness Doctrine was repealed is the reason we had the rise of people like Rush Limbaugh. Because what the Fairness Doctrine says is that if you have an opinion, you have to present both sides. Different from political equal time, but you have to give both sides a choice.
As a libertarian, I am equal time.
It is the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC. Good morning.
Get a great deal on versatile Kubota equipment today, like Kubota BX and L Series compact tractors, part of our tractor lineup rated #1 in durability and owner experience, Z Series mowers, and Sidekick utility vehicles. Stop by your local Kubota dealer today. Bring home the Kubota L2501 tractor for 0 down, 0% APR for up to 48 months, plus save up to $1,100 now through December 31st. See us or go to KubotaUSA.com for more details.
Stop by McAllister Machinery in Fishers and Indianapolis to see their full line of Kubota, or visit them online at McAllisterKubota.com.
Gather near and bring the cheer this holiday season. Dazzle and delight the love of your life with a gift from Helzberg Diamonds. Don't miss great prices on stunning diamond studs, tennis bracelets, gemstone rings, and the year's must-have look, gold jewelry for stacking and layering. Another reason to go to Helzberg? Get a free Microsoft Surface Laptop Go with a purchase of $1,699 or more. Visit Helzberg.com or a store near you today. Limited time offer while supplies last. See online or in store for details.
Inflating prices aren't stopping anytime soon, and that kitchen or bath remodel you've been thinking about, if you wait any longer, it's just going to get more and more expensive. You need to be planning right now. Tony Katz for Boer Remodeling. Get in touch with Boer now to get on the schedule for 2023 and avoid some of those price increases. Boer Remodeling aims to be the finest remodeler in Central Indiana with the best materials and most skilled craftsmen. They'll guide you through the entire process to make your vision come to life. Boer Remodeling, BOOHER. Talk to BoerRemodeling.com to set up your free consultation.
The share it with a friend deal. Even if that friend
is yourself. Your McDonald's, your rules.
$3 meals? Sounds 3 times as tasty. Choose from a crispy 6-piece McNuggets or juicy double cheeseburger and add small fries. All for only $3. Add any size soft drink for $1. Prices and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal.
Coming up in 2 minutes, this is why you always look both ways before crossing the street. Plus, the shift expected by one expert in Indiana's political climate come 2024. That and more coming up from the Shepherd Community Center studios. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 10 o'clock.
A Colorado law being challenged again at the Supreme Court. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. Several years after a baker won his fight to not be forced to make wedding cakes for gay couples, the justices are about to hear a new case this hour.
A Colorado web designer says a state anti-discrimination law violates her religious freedoms. Lori Smith, the web designer, says her religiously held views on marriage should allow her not to design websites for same-sex weddings. Colorado says the law simply requires Smith to provide the same services to all customers.
Fox's Jared Halper, and there is one last day to campaign for one last 2022 election, a Senate runoff in Georgia tomorrow.
A lot of people give lip service to the dignity of work, but you can't say that you believe in the dignity of work and not support the dignity of workers.
Democratic Senator Raphael Warnock in Atlanta this morning, trying to fend off a challenge from Republican Herschel Walker, who tells Fox,
"This is about the people of Georgia, about the people of the United States of America. We got to get the government out because this is we the people, not we the government."
The FBI is in Moore County, North Carolina, where there are nearly 40,000 power outages after attacks on 2 power substations over the weekend. They're trying to find vandals with guns. Now, that didn't just leave people in the dark, but also in the cold. It got below freezing overnight.
Got no way to heat because we don't have a fireplace, and then we don't have no gas grill or anything like that.
And she might not get power back for days. Schools are closed, also in the county. Russia keeps bombing Ukraine to knock out power to more areas. An attack today cut water service off in Odessa. This is the same day a new cap on Russian oil took effect, imposed by the U.S. and our allies. It's $60 a barrel. Russia says it won't supply to anyone for anything but full price. The price of oil is today around $81 a barrel. And a short time ago, Russian President Putin drove across the bridge to Crimea repaired after a bombing. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
How did it happen? It's cloudy and 32 downtown. I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending at 10:02. Raymond Street on the southeast side is back open now after being shut down for a few hours this morning. A woman was hit and killed by a car there. The woman had been walking across the street at Raymond Street in front of the driver. That driver stayed at the scene to talk with police. Indiana's political climate is about to change big time, says Andy Downs, political scientist at Purdue Fort Wayne, especially with a Senate seat opening up with Mike Braun planning to run for governor in 2024. He says Representatives Jim Banks and Victoria Spartz are the likely frontrunners to succeed him. That's if they run.
Those are the 2 names that pop up almost immediately. And once again, people who have proven track records, they both come from sort of the same end of the Republican Party from an ideological perspective.
But he says if other further right-leaning Republicans chime in, like Attorney General Todd Rokita, that would fracture the primary vote, he says, opening the door for a more moderate candidate. The hope is that at least to let family know what became of men who went missing more than 26 years ago. Chris Davis reports on a new search of the Baumeister estate.
Herb Baumeister is known to have killed at least 11 men. 8 of them ID'd after their bones were found in the woods behind Baumeister's home in Westfield. A new search Sunday included cadaver dogs, the hope being to find and ID as many victims as there are. Hamilton County Coroner-elect Jeff Jellison talking to our news-gathering partners at Wish TV.
You know, I tell people, these people were forgotten, but they're not forgotten any longer.
Chris Davis, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
Gas is the cheapest it's been throughout the state since late February. $3.41 is the average for unleaded in Indiana today, says Gas Buddy, down nearly 20 cents from where it was a week ago. Purdue football coach Jeff Braun, after Saturday's loss to the Michigan Wolverines in the Big Ten championship.
We hung in there. We had our chances. I thought we played hard. I thought we competed.
Well, they'll get to compete again. The Boilers are headed to the Citrus Bowl later this month. They'll be taking on LSU. I'm Kurt Darling on the The Level on the go and on WIBC.com.
At Shane Company, we know that love and meaning can be captured in a beautiful piece of fine jewelry. That's why we offer so many options to make your holiday gift even more personal. Jewelry with a birthstone makes a wonderful gift because it holds so much significance. Shane Company has unique styles with birthstones for every month of the year. Diamonds, cultured pearls, rubies, opals, and more. Why not create a necklace with her birthstone and then add a charm for good luck? A necklace with the first letter of her name lets her know how important she is to you. And our gold letter charms sparkle with diamond accents. Or select an engravable style. Give your loved one a bracelet inscribed with the place you met so they'll never forget that moment. Or capture your strong connection with a promise ring inscribed with both of your initials. Our jewelry consultants will make it easy. At Shane Company, we give you so many ways to create gifts infused with meaning. Treasures they'll have forever.
Now you have a friend in the jewelry business. Shane Company and shaneco.com.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
The Republican Party in Indiana sees zero problem in record spending, in record taxation.
And Casey Daniels.
You went out there and said, please vote for me. You debated other people on why you're the better person for the position. Suck it up.
This is the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is Monday, December 5th. It is 6 minutes after 10. It is Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. However, Rob Kendall is taking a well-deserved day off. And in his place, we have Brad Kloffenstein. Thank you so much for coming in today, Brad.
Thank you, Casey. I can't believe you don't call me Brad Kloffenstein.
Kloffenstein. I don't know. Do you find that disrespectful, or are you okay with that?
I can work with it.
You can work with it? You're like, whatever.
Hey, just call me to come in here. I'll be here. In fact, I filled in for you 2-3 weeks ago, and as I put it to Rob, I'm kind of like the WIBC bullpen catcher. When WIBC runs out of all the other talent and the game's still going on, they're like, uh-oh.
Who are we going to send
Who are we gonna call?
Kloffenstein. He's our guy. So here's a question. Are you on Twitter?
I am. At Indiana Klopp.
Oh, KLOP.
KLOP. Yep.
I'm also on Twitter, Casey Daniels 317, and we're gonna talk about Twitter for just a minute. That's why I asked. So, Elon Musk promoted a bunch of tweets on Friday showing that Twitter executives were struggling on how to handle the Hunter Biden laptop story, and this was back in 2020 before the presidential election. He said this is going to be awesome. He had a little popcorn emoji, and then with the help of journalist Matt Taibbi, they released a bunch of internal documents from Twitter. And Elon went on to say it was quite a show. If you haven't seen the thread, you should definitely dig that up. But Elon went on to say that he wasn't suicidal, making a little reference. If anything happens to me, yes. I'm of sound mind. I'm feeling okay. Don't believe everything. And he vows that he's got a lot more coming. And I don't know if that's he's alluding to maybe COVID-19 documents that are going to be released. He said this is going to happen within the next 2 to 3 days. He's obviously vetting through all of these internal documents to see what they've got. Outing President Biden's administration for directing political censorship. That's what it is. That's what it comes down to.
Can you imagine how that meeting went? Elon Musk shows up at Twitter and says, all right, give me all you got on what we did when it comes to Hunter Biden's laptop. And as you say, there's probably going to be something about COVID-19. I can't possibly imagine that it wouldn't. But yeah, him just coming in and saying, all right, what have we censored and why? And how did you come to that conclusion? And imagine the blank looks on people's faces who are like, oh no. What? He's asking the questions.
Yeah, well, and as the owner of the company, he's got a right to see him. And it's one thing for Biden's political campaign team to email Twitter and say, take this down or, delete this, and how they responded, handled. But it's totally another for a government official to email Twitter and request, suggest, demand. I mean, what if the head of the CDC said to Twitter, take this down?
That's where there needs to be a government investigation.
Yes. Or if it was someone from the FBI saying, take this down? I mean, at this point, we have the FBI determining who our president will be. Are they running elections?
It's one thing for the government to clarify and provide clarifying information and say, hey, you're misdirected on this. But for them to direct Twitter or anybody else, that would be like them calling the WIBC newsroom saying, you need to take that story down. And I would hope that Chris Davis would say, get bent.
Yeah, you know what Chris Davis is going to tell him to do. So Elon was on you wouldn't call it a live chat, a live tweet. It was a live segment on Twitter. And he was asked about more information coming, and this is what he had to say.
Yes, the intent is to release all the files. So it's not like anything that's hidden or anything.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Yeah, you cut out. Yeah, you cut out for a second while you were answering Alex. I mean, I think this is like whatever Stasi files or Truth and Reconciliation, like Nelson Mandela would say. It's if you want reconciliation, there must be truth. So. That's the intent here is to just make it clear what was happening and provide transparency about the past, and in doing so to build trust about the future.
Okay, so by providing transparency of the past, it will build trust in the future. He's saying we have to come clean with everything that's been going on here before people are going to have any faith in us in the future.
That's a very good CEO. Yes, that's no different than the people that own Folgers Coffee saying the consumers have to have faith in our product before they're going to be robust consumers of it and enthusiastic cheerleaders for it. So I think he's onto something.
So Representative Comer from Kentucky is unpacking what the release of all these Twitter files means. And here he shares why House Republicans hope to investigate the Biden family business dealings.
Thank goodness for Elon Musk. He's definitely the Grinch that stole the Christmas for the Democrat National Committee. And what he's showing here is evidence that the Biden campaign colluded with big tech to suppress a story that we now know is 100% true. The problem the Democrats should have is, why were they so scared of the laptop story? And the answer, Maria, is because the laptop proves evidence that not only did Joe Biden lie to the American people about his involvement with his family's influence peddling and shady business deals, it also proves that Joe Biden was a part of those shady business deals. And that's something every American should be concerned about.
So Biden said that it was all a smear campaign. It was a bunch of garbage. That was when he was running for president, and he continued saying it after he became president. Deny, deny, deny.
Well, yeah, if you're dead to rights, you deny.
And now Elon Musk is showing the receipts, the pictures, the photographic evidence, so to speak, of what really happened. And it's one of those things that I knew, but you didn't have proof of it. You kept thinking it, and you were wondering. And now here comes Elon Musk.
I can't wait for Biden to say, and I would have gotten away with it too if it hadn't been for those meddling kids. So we take a look at the bigger picture here, and Ron Johnson helps us with that. He states that this showcases corruption by the federal government with big tech and media involved. So what else are we thinking, but we haven't seen proof of yet? All those little conspiracy theories? Not theories anymore. No, and this is just one platform. I could only imagine if this came out through Facebook, which Facebook's a publicly traded company.
And Zuckerberg has said, yeah, the FBI contacted me. What do those emails say?
Right. And LinkedIn. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's a whole lot of platforms out there where this might cause a critical eye to go out, and people hopefully start asking those questions, saying, all right, what were you asked and who asked those questions?
Mm-hmm. And it's an indictment on the intelligence community. And that's kind of what Ron Johnson has to say. Let's listen.
How many times have I come on your show here
over the last 2 to 3 years and talked about how as troubling as the corruption of the Biden family business dealings are, as much as that compromise our national security, as troubling, if maybe even more dangerous, is the corruption that we've uncovered in federal law enforcement, our intelligence agencies, as well as the complicit and corrupt media. I mean, those, I think, are maybe even larger stories that really threaten our democracy to a far greater extent. Listen, I appreciate what Mr. Musk is doing here. It's certainly revealing an awful lot about that particular censorship. But, Senator Grassley and my investigation of Hunter Biden was hampered really as soon as it started. But certainly all through 2020, when we had Democrats cooperating and smearing us and creating false intelligence products, leaking those to the media. The scheme that we now know from whistleblowers that the FBI developed in August of 2020 to downplay the derogatory information, the unsolicited briefing that was given to Senator Grassley in August that was then later leaked to smear me in May and impacted the Wisconsin U.S. Senate election in 2022. I've lived this. I've been, on the receiving end of the corruption of the smears. So there is a much, much larger story here than just what's being revealed right now with the Elon Musk's revelations.
Tip of the iceberg.
I think it is. It's our own little Pravda going on.
Of course, Donald Trump had some stuff to say about this. He came out on his Truth Social and he said it's a massive and widespread fraud and deception, which I think, yes, we can all agree with that. But then, of course, he went on to say that we need to have termination of rules, regulations, and articles, even those found in the Constitution. And, well, that's where he lost me. On his Truth Social. He said our great founders did not want nor condone false and fraudulent elections, which is true. But what is Trump talking about? We're going to toss the Constitution?
He seems to be saying exactly that, Casey.
Yeah. And that's where he's going to lose a lot of people. And I put this next audio on the segment just because it's from Rudy Giuliani, and he was in the thick of it a few years ago. So I just kind of wanted to hear what he had to say after all of these Twitter files were released.
Well, I am very, very, I really appreciate very much what Elon Musk did, not just for me, but for the United States. I mean, this in part involves me and in part involves Donald Trump. But more importantly, it implicates our democracy. I mean, Joe Biden and his people have ripped away our democracy in many respects, including using the criminal justice system to go after their enemies, but they stole an election. I mean, I'm not talking about, fixing the ballot box. I'm talking about covering up clearly relevant information that demonstrates somewhere around 50 crimes committed by Joe Biden.
Okay, I would expect Rudy Giuliani to take that slant. But even if you're right on a topic, you still have to be likable and believable. And I'll give you an example. Michael Burry, he's the guy who predicted the housing collapse in 07-08. He made $1 billion on it, too. But he was still ostracized because he's a little left of center, a little weird, right? And you have to get people on your side and be right. There's a passionate group of people who love Trump in spite of him.
Yes, there are. And you're right. Getting people on your side is the biggest key. I have lived that life for 30 years, Casey, that yes, just because you might have the best ideas and it should make sense and it's logical, if you are not likable, people are not going to get behind you.
And finally, we're going to end this segment with actor James Woods. He was censored by Twitter, and now he's threatening to sue. And he's sued the Democratic National Committee. And here, which is really discouraging, he lays out the vetting process of woke directors based on their social media.
I think it is a compliment, but it's a big price to pay. It's not a lot of fun. I loved my career for 50 years. I was happy to be an award-winning and honored and appreciated actor. And I missed my career. And these people took it from me. And they'll pay a price later in my life, but I have to say, I am not going to take it sitting down. I think these people are vermin for doing this to other people. Let's not talk about me for a moment. Let's talk about just simple individuals who put out a tweet and now their lives are destroyed. Casting directors literally, in my business, literally go online and they check every actor who comes in for a part to see who they're following. If an actor or an actress is following me, they will blacklist them.
This is Exhibit A to what we were just talking about. Mm-hmm. Yes, James Woods, you're absolutely right, but the reason you're not getting parts is because you're a dick.
Not a fan, huh?
No, I've got a buddy.
He's claiming he's blacklisted because of his political leanings.
No, I've got a buddy who acted in a movie with him, and the first thing he said was, he goes, I went up and shook James Woods' hand, and that guy was just a jerk to me from the moment I met him, and it continued on until we were done filming the movie.
Well, he was being censored. He was angry about it.
Before then, when he actually had a career.
It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC with special guest Brad Klopfenstein. All right, today marks the final ratification of the 21st Amendment in 1933. What is it? National Repeal Day. And this is right up your alley, and we're going to get into it next on 93 WIBC.
Hopes are high for IU Hoops. With one more run for Trace Jackson Davis and Race Thompson and Xavier Johnson, and promising newcomers like CJ Gunn and Jalen Hood-Schifino. And IU basketball lives here. The Cornhuskers take on the Hoosiers in Bloomington. Wednesday, pregame at 7:30, tip-off at 8:30. On your home for IU basketball, 93 WIBC.
I lost my husband in a tragic accident earlier this year. I know he's in heaven now, but if he could write me a letter, this is what he would say. Hey, babe. I know your holidays will be filled with tears, and that's okay. But in this kingdom of God, we're not as far apart as you may fear. Heaven calls you by name. I've seen your tear jars filling up. I've seen Jesus concerned for you and caring for you, talking to the Father and the angels about you. When we see each other again, we'll have endless time to tell each other what we've done while we're apart. New memories you're making with the kids that all want to hear all about, stories of how Jesus brought you through, and 100 little miracles you see every day.
We don't often talk about grief during the Christmas season, and yet Christmas can bring up memories that evoke pain and heartache because of the loss of a loved one. Hi, this is Pastor Micah Beckwith, and our Blue Christmas experience at Life Church is designed to give you a space to remember, to ponder, and to feel. Come to one of our Blue Christmas experiences and find a new freedom and joy during the holidays. Go to lcbluechristmas.com for times and locations.
Dell Technologies' Days of Deals for Business start now with fresh, limited quantity deals on tech to drive productivity. Save on select performance laptops and desktops powered by 12th Gen Intel Core processors. Don't forget special pricing on the latest monitors, docks, and accessories, plus free shipping on everything, and special financing with Dell Business Credit. Call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL.
Life is a collection of moments that last forever, so make them matter and make them count with a symbol of everlasting love. A diamond from Pierce Jewelers. Shop local, shop smart, shop Pierce Jewelers.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
I gotta tell you, I can't stand that guy.
And Casey Daniels.
I'm in love, I don't care who knows it.
On 93 WIBC.
It's a beautiful day.
It is 22 minutes after 10. It is Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. Rob is off today and Brad is filling in. So, Brad, it's the 89th National Repeal Day.
Happy Repeal Day, Casey. I wasted my prop. I opened it too early.
What do you have? What's your prop? You got a beer over there?
Well, for those of you on the YouTube chat, you are watching that feed, you'll notice it's probably a Diet Dr. Pepper, although it is in my own beer koozie, the Alpsbrow beer.
Oh, yeah.
So, so happy Repeal Day. So in addition to my role as president of the Greater Lawrence Chamber of Commerce, the Chamber of Commerce pays the bills, but I've also been the volunteer president of the Indiana Licensed Beverage Association, which is the trade association for the smaller independent bars and taverns around the state of Indiana. So that organization has been in existence for 89 years because it was founded when the United States repealed Prohibition. Yeah. It was the state of Utah was the state that tipped the iceberg that got rid of the 21st Amendment with the 21st First Amendment. So yeah, that was 89 years ago today.
Okay, so the cost of cocktails away from home have increased by 7% because of inflation. And I'm wondering, is that affecting the liquor aisle?
It is. In fact, I know
booze aisle?
The booze aisle, yeah. I know that all the domestic beers across the board have had a price increase here in the last couple of months. On insider industry publications, I noticed that spirits have gone up. Interestingly, consumers, though, are still trading up. So consumers are spending more on the luxury items, your higher end spirits. However, they are drinking less. So while their total spend is about the same, they're drinking better, if you will.
Okay.
Yeah. So
talk to me about this Congresswoman who asked the TTB on how to prevent big soda from potential unfair trade practices.
So, Casey, that's in the alcohol industry, the big thing that's going to be coming down in the next few years. Pepsi, Coke, all of these big non-alcoholic producers are wanting to get into the alcohol space. And that opens up a whole world of questions because you've got the 3-tier system. The 21st Amendment said the first tier is the manufacturers, the second tier is the distributors, and the third tier is the retailers, and those are not supposed to mix. Well, you've got Coke and Pepsi that have a big distribution system of their own.
Right, there are all their hard seltzers
but none of that is licensed by the Alcohol and Tobacco Commission in Indiana, and none of their suppliers are licensed to distribute that. Well, they're wanting to run all that through their own distribution network, and I'm sure that the feds will have something to say about whether or not you can buy your hard, a Jack and Coke or whatever through your Coca-Cola bottler as opposed to running that through Southern Wine and Spirits or Republic National distributors. So you're going to see more of that on the horizon.
What does the Indiana Licensed Beverage Association do?
So we are an advocacy group for bars and taverns around the state of Indiana.
What are you advocating for?
So anything from, like, some of the things when I was executive director, and this goes back 15 years ago, it used to be that bars had to close down at 12:30 on Sunday nights.
Yeah.
We got that law thrown out. Used to be on Sundays they couldn't open until 11 a.m. They can now open at 7 days a week.
That's you?
That was me. I did Election Day sales. That's me.
Okay.
Christmas Day sales. That's me. Pull tabs in bars. That's me. Now, obviously, I had other people helping, but and then the big one, and Abdul was just in here, and unfortunately, he walked away. He might come running back in when I tell this story. The whole on daylight saving time, when the clocks change, in the spring, when the clocks move forward, that happens at 2 a.m., so 2 a.m. becomes 3 a.m. Well, it was going to be that the bars were going to have to close immediately at 2 a.m. It just so happened that Indianapolis was hosting a Final Four that weekend.
Oh.
And Abdul was saying, nothing good happens after 2 a.m. anyhow. It's not going to matter.
It's true.
So I put out a press release saying, you know what? Indianapolis is supposed to be hosting all these people from around the country, and here we are. Daylight saving time is supposed, and this was the first time we observed daylight saving time. I go, daylight saving time is supposed to help generate more business for the state of Indiana. And its very first hour, it's going to cost Indiana bars $150,000.
Oh.
That blew up. Mitch Daniels did an executive order the very next day saying bars can stay open.
Yeah, of course.
That was me.
Yeah. Well, congratulations. Good work.
Thank you.
27 minutes after 10. And last week we had a lengthy conversation about bands and who should be on the Mount Rushmore of rock bands. And someone suggested that U2 should be on the list of top 4. And I just happened to come across this clip and I thought it was appropriate to play. Here is President Biden commenting on U2, but like normal, he gets his figures just a little off.
150 albums sold, among the most ever. And it's true that their music is a bridge between Ireland and America, between two friends.
150 albums.
150 albums.
150 albums. The most sold ever.
Sounds like Uno Gold kind of numbers.
Say, Kevin's band could sell more than 150 albums. So just to be clear, U2 have released 13 studio albums, one of the world's best-selling music artists of all time, having sold more than 170 million records worldwide, and that is since January 19th of this year. Biden was close. He was real close. 150 versus 170 million.
So you asked this question before the show.
Little bit different.
Before the show started.
Yeah.
Your Mount Rushmore bands.
Mm-hmm.
What are yours?
What are mine? Oh, I don't know. I haven't put the thought into that. It was more of what do we say? It was based on longevity and hits and societal impact. My personal favorite would not probably come into that category. Why? Do you have a Mount Rushmore?
I scribbled down a couple. Some of these are generational, but U2 and NXS for sure are on there. I mean, Uno Gold is a given.
He's pandering to the producer.
Others could be The Cure or Nickelback or Bare Naked Ladies or The Killers.
Okay. Those are all more modern.
They are.
Our list wasn't quite that modern. We had the Queen on that list and the Beatles and the Rolling Stones, and I think Led Zeppelin was what we decided. But since that conversation, we have had a lot of input from you, and 317-684-8444 is the phone number, and we've got your voicemails coming up next from 93 WIBC.
This year, giving is receiving with Indiana College Choice 529 savings plans. It's the tax-advantaged way to save for qualified education expenses at any eligible institution in and out of state, including tech, trade, undergraduate and graduate programs, and registered apprenticeships. Contribute by December 31st, and you could receive a 20% Indiana state tax credit worth up to $1,000. Visit collegechoicedirect.com/plans to get started and read the disclosure booklet carefully before investing.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
How will they find the case? It's cloudy and 33 downtown. I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending at 10:30. Jury deliberations are expected to start today in the Trump Organization's New York tax fraud trial. The prosecutors are accusing former President Trump's company of avoiding taxes by paying personal expenses for top executives and then giving them compensation without reporting it. Former Trump Organization Chief Financial Officer Alan Weisselberg was the prosecution's star witness after he pled guilty to tax fraud and testified during the trial. Imposing a price cap on oil. Fox's Jonathan Savage on how the West plans to stick it to Russia.
The price cap is $60 a barrel. That means only Russian oil bought for less than $60 will be allowed to be shipped using G7 or European tankers or insurance firms. For comparison, the market price for a barrel of oil is over $80. All this is meant to make it harder for Russia to make money and so harder for it to wage war in Ukraine. Ukraine thinks the price cap is still too high, while Russia, the world's number 2 oil producer, says it'll only deal with countries that pay full price. Jonathan Savage, Fox News.
I'm Kurt Darling. On the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
My partners had told me I should get my knee replaced. I was in my 40s, and I decided that I wouldn't do that.
That's orthopedic surgeon Dr. John Herzog, who found regenerative medicine years ago and became a believer.
It changed my life around. It improved me to a point where I was able to jog again.
That's when Dr. Herzog switched his focus from surgery to helping his patients with natural biologics.
I've treated at least 5,000 patients. I believe your body has everything it needs to heal itself.
Today, you'll find Dr. Herzog at QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in this exciting field of medicine that can give lasting pain relief with no downtime, no drugs, and no surgery.
I have patients coming up to me that I did 10 years ago saying, Doc, my elbow's still working great. I'm playing tennis 3 days a week.
Call QC Kinetics now to explore alternative ways to deal with your pain. It's a free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 317-559-PAIN. That's 317-559-PAIN. 317-559-PAIN.
Your love isn't confined to an Advent calendar. It doesn't stop when the Christmas lights come down. With the Salvation Army, your love lasts all year long. It puts a present under someone's tree today and a roof over someone's head tomorrow. It brightens Christmas morning and the hardest nights for hardworking families. Together, we love beyond Christmas. Give $25 a month to support local families all year long at salvationarmyindiana.org.
Garage Doors of Indianapolis has been a local, family-owned and operated business for nearly 50 years and helps keep Central Indiana's economy strong by employing over 70 families. Garage Doors of Indianapolis stands by their products and services while they share and embrace our conservative values. So when you have garage door problems, call them today for service today. Garage Doors of Indianapolis, 875-4577, 875-4577, or visit doorstoday.com.
Today, people are looking for food products that are both nutritious and sustainable. And that's why, more than ever, Indiana's pig farmers are working to make pork a leading sustainable protein by caring for their animals and the environment with the highest ethical standards. The truth is, sustainability adds value for those who buy pork and builds a better future for those who grow it. Learn more at porkcares.org. Brought to you by Indiana's pig farmers.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
I'm so sorry you have just reached my answering machine.
The number 317-684-8444. If you'd like to contribute with your questions, comments, or smart remarks. Rob Kendall is on vacation today. He's out, and I know he was blowing up Twitter all weekend long with property tax conversation. So we're just going to leave that for him for when he returns tomorrow.
Casey, I forgot to ask you when we started this morning, is there a particular quota on how many times I'm supposed to say Duke of Spindingburg or High Tax Holcomb or Colonel Bray? I mean, we haven't said any of those so far.
Well, let's see. Check. You got them all in. So that should make him happy. Okay, so back to the conversation about the bans, because it's the little things that people get worked up about. We have quite a few phone calls about this, and we're going to try and get through as many of these as we can. So let's go, Kevin.
Yeah, I was just following up with my previous voicemail. I forgot to add that the Glenn Miller ban, which I know that wasn't a choice, but it should be up there, has longevity and societal impact because of the fact that it's still played in movies and TV shows. He had a bunch of hits when he was alive, and they even made a movie about him. So suck it, Rob.
Even when he's not here, people like giving him a hard time. Glenn Miller band. Now, Kevin, did we say rock band specifically?
I think we just said bands, so I think any genre can really...
I thought we said rock band because we were talking about Beatles, Rolling Stones, Led Zeppelin, and this conversation all became on the death of Christine McVie from Fleetwood Mac. And
yes.
Does Fleetwood Mac belong on the Mount Rushmore of rock bands?
I think, as I mentioned earlier, I think it's generational.
Yeah.
For if you're a baby boomer, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a Gen Xer like me, then I think you're more into the NXS's and Tom Petty's and U2s. So
some of the music from the 80s. So the Glenn Miller band, he does have a point as far as longevity, but it's not a rock band.
No.
So we're going to disqualify that one. And we did give everybody a list of options to choose from, but people like to just call in and give their input regardless of our list, which is fine. Okay, what's next?
For the conversation you had about Purdue football, Purdue in general just sucks. Yeah, they have a good basketball team, but the university sucks. There's that old saying, how do you get to Purdue from Indianapolis? You head north until you smell it, and then you turn west until you step in it. So Purdue sucks. That's also probably why Indiana University removed their affiliation with them at what was formerly IPFW. Now it's just PFW because IU couldn't stand to be in the same thing as them. I wonder how long until it's just Purdue University of Indianapolis instead of IUPY.
Okay. Rob was saying, he's an IU grad, but now in the studio, I have a daughter who's at Purdue, and
I'm a
grad.
Boilermaker. One, Kevin, can we extract that man's phone number and broadcast it out? Because I feel bad. I mean, other than IU's lone victory in basketball last year where they won 1 of 2 against Purdue in men's basketball, I believe that was their first victory in something like 1,700 days. I don't want to bring that up, and I don't want to bring up the fact that I think in the old Oak and Bucket that the Boilermakers have won almost 2/3 of those. Really. And I've been saying for a long time, Casey, that I want both IU and Purdue to be good so that when the old Oak and Bucket happens or they face each other on the basketball court, that it actually means something, but only one of the 2 schools in this state is actually holding up their end of the bargain. So whenever IU decides they're going to stop playing D2 ball, maybe we can have a rivalry again.
Spoken like a true alumnus. Your education, I'm sure, has been very good to you. Okay, so more phone calls, 317-684-8444. What do we have next?
What about AC/DC, Metallica, The Doors? I'm sure they influenced a ton of people.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually thought about The Doors after we did that segment.
Did you?
I think that would be a good one.
Yeah, I think we actually did mention AC/DC as a possibility.
Yeah, AC/DC was
We
mentioned.
kicked that one around because for those about to rock, we salute you. Okay, what else we have?
Rob, I have been listening to you for over 2 years, and I agree on almost 100% of what you say. But I'm going to have to draw the line when it comes to the Ramones, because I love the Ramones. Yeah! And a lot of people love the Ramones because they are badass. I love you, and I love Casey and Kevin. All of you guys are great. Have a nice day.
Oh, the Ramones. It's one of those high passion groups. Maybe a small group, but high passion, right?
Yeah, I Want to Be Sedated is great intro music.
I agree. And Rob, I don't think he fully understands how impactful the punk movement was.
Mm-hmm. I would almost argue that you could say, now we called it new wave in the early 80s, but then they started calling it alternative music and then grunge, all kind of spurred from that punk.
Yeah.
Anything that's just a little different, non-mainstream.
When I went to Purdue, I started, we had a dorm radio station, WLAY Radio, and in 1987, when I left Central Indiana and went up to Purdue, suddenly we were getting WXRT out of Chicago, and all of these alternative bands, REM, the Smithereens, the Smiths. I was introduced to all those bands.
You mentioned The Cure.
The Cure.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my gosh, my world expanded dramatically.
Did you call it new wave or did you call it alternative?
Alternative.
Alternative?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, we've got some more calls.
Hey guys, this is Chris, Southside Indy. Was listening to you guys talking about rock and roll Mount Rushmore, and I got to thinking about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, which they're going to have to change the name to that because it's no longer the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It bugs the hell out of me that just about anybody can get in it now. I think they even wanted to put Dolly Parton in there, and she said no because she's not a rock and roll act. I mean, I would prefer it stay strictly Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but and I understand that, you know, at some point you'll run out of nominees, but, you know, it's not the Pop Hall of Fame, it's not the Country Hall of Fame, it's just been co-opted, and I don't like it. I mean, I'm a pure rock and roll guy, have been since the 70s, and I just want to give you my thoughts on that. Thanks.
Good point. Should it be called the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame or should it just be the Music Hall of Fame? I mean, there's the Grand Ole Opry, which focuses on the country music in Nashville, and but it's not all just rock and roll. I mean, I've been to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and there's Michael Jackson stuff is there, and I wouldn't consider that's pop music. I wouldn't consider that
music.
rock.
There's nothing wrong with calling it the Music Hall of Fame. Now, Casey, I was handed a note by management here.
Yeah.
I want to remind the listeners, tune in Wednesday night for IU basketball here on these airwaves.
Okay. Who sent you that for real? No, nobody
I
sent
just made that up, but it did occur to me. We are the home of IU basketball here at WIBC.
Yeah, you know what? And that guy brought up an interesting point about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and the bands of the 70s and some of the bands of the 80s. And Kevin, you should probably weigh in on this because you're the musician here. Music is so fragmented now, and there's so many different places to get it that we're not going to have the iconic bands anymore.
No, you won't. And some of that is because there used to only be a half dozen radio stations in town, and that was the only place you could get music.
Right.
So you were at the mercy of whatever they were playing.
Right.
Yeah, it's more easy than ever to make your own music and upload it to the internet. So it's just, you can find new music anywhere, really.
Yeah, there's so many places to consume it that the audience is so fragmented that there isn't going to be the super iconic super groups anymore.
And that's going to make it harder and harder for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame to find members to induct just because, yes, people self-select just like they self-select their news sources. They're self-selecting what they're listening to. And
yeah. All right, we've got time for one more phone call. Kevin, can we skip down to the very last one?
You want to skip it?
Yeah.
All right.
Go down to the, I think it's the message for Rob Kendall.
Rob, Casey, love the show. Listen every day. Rob, about taking vacation time and being out of the office and whatnot. Share a little story with you with what life was back in the 70s. My dad was a CEO of a bank, and he, by federal law, had to spend a minimum of 2 weeks out of the bank on vacation. And the reason why they did this was so the feds could go in and audit the bank, and if he was doing anything funny with money, then it would turn up when he was out of the office. So the fact that you enjoy your job is a bonus to Indiana and to Indianapolis. And, bro, if you want to work all them hours, go for it, because I miss you guys when you're not on. So hang in there, brother. Love the show. Hope you guys have great holidays.
That was a nice phone call. We're not taking an audit while Rob is gone.
we're going to be checking the books, make sure that the numbers are right.
Right.
Although I do agree with his sentiment. It is good that Rob gets out of the studio once in a while.
Absolutely.
Sadly, I'm sure he's watching online, but
I hope he's enjoying his day.
He needs
off.
to get out there with the commoners, the little people. Reach the listeners. Reach out and touch them like Joe Biden.
Okay. Hammer's going to join us next. It is the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC. Good morning.
Hammer and Nigel Show, 3 o'clock this afternoon. Biggest stories of the day, and Guy Relford joins us in studio. We'll talk a little Delphi. 93 WIBC.
Indy's #1 for new country.
I got some famous friends. Long neck, ice cold beer, never broke my.
Nobody plays more new country.
Till you can.
97.1 Hank FM.
Inflating prices aren't stopping anytime soon, and that kitchen or bath remodel you've been thinking about, if you wait any longer, it's just going to get more and more expensive. You need to be planning right now. Tony Katz for Boer Remodeling. Get in touch with Boer now to get on the schedule for 2023 and avoid some of those price increases. Boer Remodeling aims to be the finest remodeler in central Indiana with the best materials and most skilled craftsmen. They'll guide you through the entire process to make your vision come to life. Boer Remodeling, BOOHER. Talk to BoerRemodeling.com to set up your free consultation.
Hey, good morning. It's Casey, and let's talk about your retirement dreams. So you had a solid retirement plan. You're going to sell your home in a few years, bank the equity, downsize, and possibly travel. But inflation and the recession has you wondering if all of your hard-earned equity is still going to be there. What if you could recession-proof your equity right now? You can with Truehold. Truehold will buy your home for its best current value before a recession can erode it. You get to bank all that cash now and live in your home for as long as you want. And Truehold covers all all of your property taxes. Visit Truehold.com and discover how much Truehold will pay for your home today based on its best current value, not what's coming. Call 1-855-300-9993 or visit Truehold.com. It's the smarter, faster way to cash out on your home's value without having to move. Truehold.com.
Thanks, Bob. Well, today's forecast is a chiller. Looks like we can see record lows in the living room and the dining room, while the kitchen is going to stay cold until late in the evening. All 3 bedrooms will be freezing, with only occasional warmth from the fireplace to provide little relief.
Living room turning into an icebox? We'll be right there. At 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning, we're
always on time, or you don't pay a dime.
Call 855-1-HOUR or visit onehourheatandair.com. Each location independently owned and operated. Licensed in their respective state or county.
When a cold comes on strong, knock it out with Vicks DayQuil Severe for max strength daytime relief. Just 1 dose of Vicks DayQuil Severe starts to relieve 9 of your worst cold and flu symptoms to help take you from 9 to none. Power through your day with Vicks DayQuil Severe, the daytime non-drowsy, coughing, aching, fever, sore throat, 9 to none medicine. Use as directed.
Hey, good morning. It's Casey, and I'd like to share with you what people are saying about Galaxy Concrete Coating. John said, great company to work with. I had a very positive experience, and they were timely and completed the job in 1 day as promised. Bob said they did our screen porch and patio and did a fantastic job. Great workers, great product. Danny said, I did my garage floor and patio in the summer of 2020. Absolutely loved the job that was done. I highly recommend the company. You'll be amazed, too, when you call them 317-751-9070. It's Galaxy Concrete Coating. Find them online, galaxyconcretecoatings.com.
By listening to WIBC, you'll learn how to create a secure income plan that is sustainable throughout retirement from Crown Haven Wealth Advisors. Tune into WIBC this Sunday from 9 to 10 p.m.
There's a lot of sexy content on the internet. And there's WIBC, full of faces meant for radio. Hammer and Nigel, Kendall and Casey. Okay, Casey could be on TV. Now streaming every day on YouTube. Go to youtube.com/WIBC.
So it was a loss for the Colts this weekend. And a decent loss, huh? What was the score? 50? 50? Doesn't matter.
They gave up a 50 burger. They gave up 33 points in the fourth quarter alone. Yeah. Now, this was a close game in the fourth quarter, and I stayed up and watched it because there are gambling ramifications on the line.
Got money on the line.
And, that was probably the worst quarter I have ever seen the Colts play. Like, that game against New England, the full game, was close to rock bottom. I've seen some bad football. The post-Baltimore move Colts, the early 1990 Colts, seen some bad football. But that Patriots game a couple of weeks ago was on par with that, from the opening kick to the final whistle. This fourth quarter, though, just the fourth quarter might be the worst I've ever seen.
So did you make your parlay?
Oh, I'm not a parlay guy.
No, okay.
You watch my programs, you'll know parlay bets are sucker bets. The books, the sports makers, they want you to do parlay bets because everybody thinks they know everything, and you've got to get all these dominoes to fall before you win. And guess what? Chances are you'll lose more than you win. So I'm not a parlay guy, so I had a lot of individual bets in play, won most of them, but the most egregious one was I lost was I had the under in the game, 44.5 points. The Cowboys beat that by themselves last night. That's how bad the Colts were.
Parlay bets are sucker bets.
They are.
I'm going to need you to tell that to somebody at my house, if you wouldn't mind.
Right? And like every dude thinks, oh, I win parlay bets all the time. Show us your yearly total on your parlay bets because they are sucker bets. Now, if you do win one, it's a great payoff. And you could say, well, you just win one, then, you've paid for your monthly stipend or whatever,
right,
depending on how much you play. But if you do them more often than not, you will lose. The money is in individual bets.
Hammer's in the studio with Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC, and Rob is out today. Brad is filling in. So somebody else who surprisingly lost this weekend was Joey Chestnut in the shrimp eating contest.
He was just here.
You had him in on Friday, and what? Did he seem like he was in good form? Was he complaining about any stomach aches or a toothache or anything?
He seemed to be in Joey Chestnut form. Nigel and I raced him in a shrimp eating contest, which is never really a race for him.
Right.
By the time we have the second shrimp even picked up, he's done. But he seemed fine, and he got 4th place in the shrimp eating contest. But Casey, you and I were talking about this before we came on here today. I still think that shows you how good this dude is. When he doesn't win, we're shocked.
Right. That's a surprise that he didn't win. It's newsworthy when he doesn't win.
Right. Because when he does the hot dog eating contest, like it's him and everybody else. There's nobody that's even a close second.
He's the Wayne Gretzky or Michael Jordan of his sport. There's no doubt about it.
Right. And I don't know what happened. I didn't see the race. I saw it updated on my phone. I was like, man, he didn't even get second. He got 4th.
Although he's had, a 10-year run, maybe longer than that, at being the pinnacle of that sport, if it's a sport. And you know what? Every great champion finally has to come to terms with their career might be coming to an end. Are we seeing that?
Rob and I had a debate one day. Like, we're not comparing the sports, but who is more dominant in their respective sport? Tom Brady in football, Tiger Woods in golf, or Joey Chestnut in competitive eating. I would make the case that it's Joey Chestnut in competitive eating.
Oh, no doubt about it.
He's got more wins than losses, right?
Right. And like there are a bunch of competitors. It's an individual sport. It's not like you can rely on a teammate sometime to bail you out.
Or to blame.
Right. In terms of their individual craft, Michael Jordan, Joey Chestnut, prime Mike Tyson or Muhammad Ali. I think I go Joey Chestnut.
Hey, I wanted to play this really quick. This is from the ref cam from the Purdue-Michigan game.
Being official, this is the hat cam on the line judge, Rudy Studd. So if anyone knows this is what it's like talking to Jim Harbaugh on the sideline during a timeout. How good is that?
So Jim Harbaugh's face was right there in the camera. What did you think about that?
I thought, man, that's the next head coach of the Indianapolis Colts. We're starting that rumor right now. We're starting that rumor right now because I'm telling you, if Michigan somehow wins the national championship, he's going to ride off in the sunset as a Michigan legend, a great player, a coach that won a championship, and he doesn't have to recruit anymore after that.
I wonder if he's going to give his $500,000 purse for winning the Big Ten championship away like he has in years past.
Maybe, but I'm telling you, he was in Indy last weekend. Jim Irsay, I hope you were on the phone.
Looking at property, what do you have coming up this afternoon?
Monday Gun Day with Guy Relford. He'll join us in studio, and Kevin Bowen will recap whatever that was last night with the Colts.
All right, thanks, Hammer. It's the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
Do you get sinus infections? Congestion, sinus pressure and pain, above your eyes, below your eyes, sinus headaches? You've gone to the doctor, you've visited urgent care over and over again, and it's always the same thing. Oh, I know. Let's try antibiotics and nasal sprays. But the sinus infections keep coming back. The good news? Relief is possible. How? A minimally invasive procedure done in the office of Indianapolis Sinus Center called balloon sinuplasty. Imagine the relief of not having to deal with your sinus infections anymore. Set an appointment today with Indianapolis Sinus Center and find out if balloon sinuplasty is the solution for you. Call 317-528-9650. 317-528-9650. That's 317-528-9650.
Diamonds Direct is giving you one more holiday gift of 25% savings just in time for Christmas. A last-minute sale on all earrings this weekend. Save an unprecedented 25% off all earrings at Diamonds Direct. Diamond stud earrings, sapphire earrings, gold earrings. Get Diamonds Direct's unbeatable price plus an extra 25% savings. Biggest discounts of the year. Special financing too. It's Friday through Sunday only. A truly epic earring event at Diamonds Direct.
Did you know that you need to winterize your roof? Let Moss Roofing be your first call. MossRoofing.com. Call Moss Roofing before winter hits. Damaged siding can create one big winter project that you do not want to deal with, especially in that frigid cold. Moss Roofing can inspect, repair, or replace damaged siding. They can also recommend downspout extensions or top-notch gutter guards if they see any red flags during the inspection. Let's talk insulation. Investing in and reinforcing your home's insulation with Moss Roofing can reduce your energy bills and keep you warmer this winter. Whether you need to install new insulation or replace your existing insulation, you can always turn to Moss Roofing. Moss Roofing will find the solution that works best for you and your budget. The expert inspectors from Moss Roofing can identify your unique needs. Whether you need winter-ready insulation, gutters, repairs, or a replacement, the Moss Roofing team will come up with a custom winterizing plan for you. Visit mossroofing.com to get your winter prep started today.
Hammer and Nigel here, inviting you to join us as we kick off the weekend every Friday around 5:45 with Beer Sample Friday, brought to you by our friends at Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus.
Express the heartwarming message of Christmas this year and give her a diamond engagement ring from Pierce Jewelers that says, I love you. Remember, shop local, shop smart, shop Pierce Jewelers.
Coming up in 2 minutes, John Herrick reports on a woman hit and killed by a car this morning. Plus, there's a possibility of this for Republicans come 2024 in Indiana, and why the North Split project is going to keep going a little while longer. All that and more coming up from the Shepherd Community Center studios after Fox News. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 11 o'clock.
Who has the right? I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. That's the question the Supreme Court just considered at a hearing over Colorado's anti-discrimination law being challenged by a web designer who says it's against her religion to be forced to make wedding websites for same-sex couples.
Colorado says the law simply requires Smith to provide the same services to all customers. The Supreme Court has reviewed the law previously, siding with a baker who argued he was treated unfairly for refusing to make cakes for same-sex weddings.
As Fox's Jared Halpern, for the last time this year, they're out campaigning in Georgia.
Democratic incumbent Senator Raphael Warnock met up with Teamsters union members this morning, urging everyone to vote Tuesday, insisting this will come down to turnout. In this runoff race, there are no other candidates on the ballot like there were in November.
But I will say that I have Herschel Walker now right where I want him, because this race is about me and him.
While neither cracked the 50% threshold in the midterms, Warnock did beat Walker by about 1%. Walker held an event this morning as well, but did not take questions.
Fox's Jessica Rosenthal. It's now 3 weeks and a day since 4 University of Idaho students were found murdered in a home, and there's still no suspect.
Moscow police won't confirm how the different students were attacked. Was one student stabbed much more than the other? It's a grim detail, but it could shine some light on whether one of these students was targeted.
Fox's Christina Coleman in Moscow, Idaho. There are still 36,000 power outages in Moore County, North Carolina, after vandals with guns damaged 2 power substations on Saturday.
No group has stepped up to acknowledge or accept that they're the ones that done it. So, yeah. I call them cowards.
Sheriff Ronnie Field says the FBI is helping. Tampa, Florida's police chief resigned this morning for what happened last month when Mary O'Connor's husband got pulled over driving a golf cart on a street. She was with him, identified herself as Tampa's chief, and got the sheriff's deputy not to issue a ticket. An internal affairs review determined O'Connor violated police policy. America's listening to Fox.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
What led to the collision? It's cloudy and 35 downtown. I'm Kirk Darling. Here's what's trending at 11:02. A woman was hit by someone else driving a car on Indy's southeast side this morning at around 6 o'clock. John Herrick explains.
IMPD says it happened at the intersection of East Raymond Street and Churchman Avenue, just east of South Keystone Avenue. The driver stuck around and has been talking to police. Investigators don't believe that drugs or alcohol were a factor in the crash at this time, but they're trying to figure out what caused the crash. John Herrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
In Indiana, during the primaries, you do not need a majority to win the nomination of your political party. It's called plurality, and it's possible that you'll have that for the Republican primary for U.S. Senate come 2024.
Theoretically, someone could win with 21% of the vote, and everybody else has
19 to 20%.
Andy Downs, Purdue Fort Wayne political scientist, he tells Indy Politics that with a handful of far-right leaning candidates listed as possible contenders for Mike Braun's Senate seat, it could be a fractured vote, leaving the door open for a more moderate candidate. A Christmas gift from Martin University. They're offering gift cards in exchange for you to get a COVID-19 shot if you haven't gotten one yet. Head to Martin University Gatheratorium between 4:30 and 7:30 this evening to attend their vaccine event. The planned finish of the North Split construction project has been delayed. Matt Baer has the details.
Drivers have to wait a little bit longer to gain access from Ohio Street Collector Ramp to downtown Indianapolis. North Split construction has been delayed into winter and into the fall. Now, Ohio Street itself, the local traffic, will be reopened in the winter, looking like mid-January. The Collector Ramp, the Ohio Street ramp to downtown, is scheduled to reopen in the spring, hopefully around April. Learn more from the WIBC Traffic Center at WIBC Traffic.
The Indiana Pacers are in San Francisco tonight. They take on the Golden State Warriors at 10 p.m. I'm Kurt Darling on The Level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Hopefully, you'll never have a house or business fire. But if you do, hopefully, you'll never forget this name, Michaelis. They can be there before that lump in your throat goes away. In fact, they're the reason it goes away. Over 35 years of helping people recover from faulty wiring, lightning strikes, or that unattended pot of pasta on the stove. Michaelis crews often roll in before the fire hoses are rolled up. Their proven process of water extraction, smoke removal, and content storage will calm your nerves. Then their talented craftsmen will rebuild your home and restore your spirits. That starts by being your advocate with the insurance company. You'll find Michaelis doesn't just feel for you, they work for you. Water, storms, fire, and foundations. Life happens. Michaelis happens to help you through it. Call 844-FIX-INDY. Make it Michaelis.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
The Republican Party in Indiana sees zero problem in record spending, in record taxation.
And Casey Daniels.
You went out there and said, please vote for me. You debated other people on why you're the better person for the position. Suck it up.
This is the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is Monday, December 5th. It is 5 minutes after 11. It's the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC. Rob Kendall is off today, and guest starring, we have Brad Klopfenstein. I feel like it's the beginning of Love Boat. Do you remember the Love Boat?
Remember when you started, Hammer and Rob did the Love Boat tribute. And now I wanted to say I am sitting in for Rob, which means this show now has 50% less rants than normal.
It's true, but I feel like it's the beginning of Love Boat and special guest star Brad Klopfenstein. And there's your picture.
I'm Charo.
Oh, boy. Okay, so let's talk about Apple. And they're accelerating their plan to move iPhone production out of China. This is in the wake of violent worker protests over COVID-19 regulations. It's happening at the world's largest iPhone factory. And this is a report according to the Wall Street Journal. So the plant is dubbed iPhone City. They made headlines recently. Of course, you saw it. The workers were revolting. And Apple is reportedly looking to shift its production towards other nations in Asia, like India and also Vietnam. So Apple is the largest, most powerful company in the world. In the world. Apple has 10 times the market cap of Disney. But China becoming toxic, and Apple should distance itself.
I don't know why Apple would have a problem with their factory becoming Thunderdome over in China. No, I think it's a good move. And I think for a lot of manufacturers, you are going to see this more and more. Some of this is because China still has pretty heavy-duty lockdowns over there. And the supply chain issues here are directly related to their lack of production there. And I think just to insulate themselves, and I know that there's been an initiative from the Biden administration to encourage more people to produce here in North America.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is probably just a good best practice that especially if you're the size of Apple,
Mm-hmm.
you can have a production facility in China. You probably should have one in India or Indonesia or somewhere else, or maybe, even here in North America. And that is just as an insurance policy, because you don't want all of your stuff tied up in a factory like this where suddenly there is no production coming out. And even if they were producing, it's iffy if it's going to get here. That is just a bad policy.
I think we're sharing a brain on this. So I said China is toxic. They changed the law so that Xi Jinping could have his third term, even though he was supposed to be done after 2. You might recall him hauling the former prime minister out of a meeting publicly in front of everybody. It's almost like he's just Putin in a better suit.
Yeah. The most surprising thing you said there was that they had a policy on 2 terms.
Right.
I thought if you were in a socialist society that basically
you go as long as you want.
Yes, exactly. You are chairman for life until one day you, air quotes, get sick.
Yeah. Well, since COVID, China's become less friendly to do business with. And to your point, Brad, they're not reliable because they keep shutting their country down. There's still the possibility that they might invade Taiwan. So Apple should leave. But I doubt it is solely based on a human rights violation decision only. I mean, they're not going to make a decision like this just for one reason.
No.
It's going to have multiple prongs.
$5 an hour is the reason.
Apple's market cap is $2.3 trillion. So when I mentioned they're the biggest, most powerful company in the world, that's what $2.3 trillion will do for you.
So they could buy Elon Musk and Twitter?
I don't know about. Hopefully, Elon won't go down that road. But the CEO of Apple, Tim Cook, was recently asked a lot of questions by a reporter, and he didn't want to answer a single one of them.
The Chinese people's right to protest. Do you have any reaction to the factory workers that were beaten and detained for protesting COVID lockdowns? Do you regret restricting airdrop access that protesters used to evade surveillance from the Chinese government? Do you think it's problematic to do business with the Communist Chinese Party when they suppress human rights?
Not a one.
No.
Not a peep.
Was he even present for that?
He was. They were actually walking down the same side of the hallway, and when she just kept going and asking, he actually went to the other side of the hallway to just get away from her. He didn't want to answer any of the questions. And I've heard a lot of people saying that the Democrats have their own MAGA, only theirs stands for Microsoft, Apple, Google, and Amazon.
Yeah. Well, the whole airdrop feature I find fascinating and interesting just because that does circumvent the tower.
Mm-hmm.
And the Chinese people were using that to their advantage to communicate without having to be censored by the Chinese government.
Without being online.
And obviously the Chinese government leaned on Apple and said, shut that feature off.
Mm-hmm.
And it was gone.
So let's fire up the Wayback Machine and get a little comic relief from Ricky Gervais. It's somewhat hypocritical because he is one of the people that he's ripping on. But here he gave his opinion on Apple a few years ago, and he gave the woke mob a heads up.
Apple roared into the TV game with a morning show, a superb drama, a superb drama about the importance of dignity and doing the right thing, made by a company that runs sweatshops in China. So, well, you say you're woke, but the companies you work for, I mean, unbelievable. Apple, Amazon, Disney. If ISIS started a streaming service, you'd call your agent, wouldn't you?
uncomfortable. They all sat there laughing, knowing full well that he was speaking the truth.
Oh, absolutely he is. Yeah. If Saudi Arabia wanted to get into something like that, they're already doing it with sports. But yeah, they would all sell out in a second.
You know what? You mentioned Saudi Arabia, and they just recently put an offer out to Cristiano Ronaldo, world famous soccer player, for $207 million to go play over there.
That's interesting because he is at the tail end of his career.
You think so? He's still in it. He's still in the World Cup. Him and Messi, their teams are still in it.
That's true. He's still in it. How old is he? He's got to be mid-30s. Mid-30s.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Although they're throwing a lot of money at a lot of golfers in particular.
Right,
but,
with the LIV tournament.
Yeah, I'm curious what their end game is on this. They seem to have the sports strategy, much like maybe Indianapolis did 50 years ago.
I think their end game is to make as much money as possible, and they're banking that Ronaldo will bring in more than the $207 million that they're offering him. It is 13 minutes after 11, and it was Sunday morning, so all the Sunday morning news programs were on, and House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy was on Fox Sunday morning. He was talking about, a lot of different things. He was talking about national security, and one of the things that he brought up was the need to lift the vaccine mandate for the military.
And we're working through what is the NDA, the National Defense Bill. We will secure lifting that vaccine mandate on our military, because what we're finding is they're kicking out men and women that have been serving. They're not meeting their recruitment. I had a conversation with the Secretary of Defense even last night. But come next week, you'll see that we've been able to. And that's the first victory of having a Republican majority. And we'd like to have more of those victories, and we should start moving those now.
He wants to be speaker, and this is a softball, something that easily every Republican can get behind.
I would think so.
Yeah. Trust in the military has fallen. Recruitment has fallen. Well, quit making it so hard. And he said this is a victory for the Republicans, and we'd like to see more of that. Yeah, we all would.
Yeah.
We all would.
Yeah, that's pretty universal.
Yeah. Also on ABC News, George Stephanopoulos confronted the House Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries over what many Republicans are calling election-denying rhetoric, and he kind of didn't let him get away with anything. This is after Mitch McConnell called Hakeem Jeffries an election denier.
He had a pretty stinging welcome from Senate GOP leader Mitch McConnell on Thursday. He took to the Senate floor and said this.
The newly elected incoming leader of House Democrats is a past election denier who basically said the 2016 election was, quote, illegitimate, and suggested that we had a, quote, fake president.
Suggesting equivalence there with Donald Trump. What's your response?
Well, it's unfortunate that Republicans have chosen to focus on me. House Democrats are going to focus on solving problems for the American people.
But you did say that history will never accept Donald Trump as a legitimate president, and the Republicans are making quite a big issue out of that. What is your response?
Well, here's the Republican playbook. Facts don't matter. Hypocrisy is not a constraint to their behavior. And in many cases, they believe that shamelessness is a superpower. My view of the situation has been pretty clear. I supported the certification of Donald Trump's election. I attended his inauguration, even though there were many constituents and others across the country pushing me and others to do otherwise, and found ways to work with the Trump administration, being the lead Democrat in negotiating historic criminal justice reform. That track record speaks for itself. At the same time, I will never hesitate in criticizing the former president. I think I'm in good company there throughout the world.
Okay, so he is the House Democratic leader, and he's saying there's a real risk that the new GOP majority in the chamber will be hijacked by extremists. Kind of like Twitter was hijacked.
Yes.
Speaking from experience, are we?
Funny how this all comes around. I wish people would stop talking about, stop denying election results. All you're doing is undermining the foundation of our republic. And you're making people think that there's something nefarious going on when there probably isn't. Sometimes your person just loses. So every time there's an election, you're going to have a winner and multiple losers. And you know what? It's not always going to go your way. Suck it up.
Yeah, but sometimes you have a social media platform working on your behalf as well.
Yes, they did.
And along those lines, James Comer had something to say about that President Biden is compromised.
Thank goodness for Elon Musk. He's definitely the Grinch that stole the Christmas for the Democrat National Committee. And what he's showing here is evidence that the Biden campaign colluded with big tech to suppress a story that we now know is 100% true. The problem the Democrats should have is, why were they so scared of the laptop story? And the answer, Maria, is because the laptop proves evidence that not only did Joe Biden lie to the American people about his involvement with his family's influence peddling and shady business dealings, it also proves that Joe Biden was a part of those shady business deals. And that's something every American should be concerned about.
Okay, so the Twitter files on the Hunter Biden story is just one example of why the House Republicans hope to investigate the Biden family international business dealings. And finally, we're going to end this segment with this. The French president, Emmanuel Macron, was on 60 Minutes, and this was fresh off of his state dinner with Biden. It was really interesting. He was interviewed before he went to the state dinner, and he had not a lot of positive things to say about the Inflation Reduction Act and how it was hurting trade agreements with the EU. And then he met for 2 hours in the Oval Office with Biden. And then they interviewed him again. And he was much friendlier about it and talked about how they came to terms. So I'd be really curious to know what sort of sales job Joe Biden did on him to get him to completely go from one direction to the other. But one thing he did say during the interview was that Putin should not be isolated. And Joe Biden recently said that he is open to meeting with Putin.
Look, there's one way for this war to end, the rational way. Putin to pull out of Ukraine, number one. But it appears he's not going to do that. He's paying a very heavy price for failing to do it, but he's inflicting incredible carnage on the civilian population of Ukraine, bombing nurseries, hospitals, children's homes. It's sick what he's doing. But the fact of the matter is, I have no immediate plans to contact Mr. Putin. Mr. Putin is, let me choose my words very carefully. I'm prepared to speak with Mr. Putin if, in fact, there is an interest in him deciding he's looking for a way to end the war. He hasn't done that yet. If that's the case, in consultation with my French and my NATO friends, I'll be happy to sit down with Putin to see what he has in mind.
It is 20 minutes after 11. It is the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
God led me here to the Salvation Army.
It's a tradition of giving.
Your donation is so important.
For over a quarter century, WIBC has partnered with the Salvation Army. Your generous donations stay in central Indiana, helping Hoosiers.
Thank you, Lord, for the peace.
Find hope.
Feeding people in shelters.
The tradition continues this Friday and Saturday. The WIBC Radiothon for the Salvation Army.
People who suffer from arthritis are getting real pain relief with exciting biologic therapies at QC Kinetics.
The success rate is there, and there's no better way to treat yourself when it comes to dealing with pain.
Meet Tyler Vale, co-founder of QC Kinetics, who says they can't cure arthritis, but they can treat the pain.
If you think of the tide coming in and out on the beach and what it does, it erodes the sand, right? Can't stop the tide, but eventually when the sand or the beach gets bad enough, we backfill that beach with sand so that we get generations of enjoyment with that beach again. And the same thing happens with your knee or your shoulder or your hip or your back. We want to backfill the problems that have happened to this point. I'm not stopping the tide, so I'm not stopping the arthritis, but I want to get generations of enjoyment out of those joints again.
Call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation. Learn more about how restorative biologic therapies can get you real and lasting joint pain relief.
Call QC Kinetics, 317-559-PAIN. That's 317-559-PAIN. 317-559-PAIN.
Garage door problems? Call today for service today. Garage Doors of Indianapolis has been solving garage door problems for 33 years. Call today for service today. 875-4577. Garage Doors of Indianapolis services all makes of garage doors 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Call today for service today. Get it fixed right now. Call Garage Doors of Indianapolis at 875-4577 or visit doorstoday.com.
In the morning, call 875-4577. Service today.
He's Big Joe for your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer, Kirby Heating and Air Conditioning. The Kirbys have been in business for nearly 4 decades, and son Robert says his parents' business practices won't ever change.
I love the way that they've ran the business, treat the customer right. Word of mouth is our biggest advertisement, so you treat people right and they're going to recommend you 10 times more, so it's been great.
Call Jessica, Lloyd, Robert, and Adam at Kirby Heating and Air Conditioning at 317-892-3614. Kirby is your trusted local independent American Standard dealer.
Dell Technologies' Days of Deals for Business start now with fresh, limited quantity deals on tech to drive productivity. Save on select performance laptops and desktops powered by 12th Gen Intel Core processors. Don't forget special pricing on the latest monitors, docks, and accessories, plus free shipping on everything, and special financing with Dell Business Credit. Call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL.
Pierce Jewelers has the perfect sparkle to put under the tree this Christmas. So don't be a Grinch. Spoil your loved one with a little blue box from Pierce Jewelers in Carmel.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
How can you listen to this wacko?
And Casey Daniels.
Yeah. Yeah, baby.
93 WIBC.
Having a wonderful Christmas time. So Meghan Markle and Prince Harry's documentary trailer for Netflix was released over the weekend, and it showed a lot of personal pictures of the couple, including their couple milestone events, their wedding, Meghan's pregnancies with the children. And do you have any interest at all about watching this documentary?
Whether or not I have any interest has no bearing upon whether or not I'm going to have to watch it.
Oh, right. Someone else in your house might have interest in watching it. So it's dominating pop culture, and it's only the trailer.
Now, we had mentioned
just the trailer.
We had mentioned people who are willing to sell out a lot to others. Harry and Meghan, I'm looking at you squarely in the eye.
So here's the question: between the Duke of York, the Queen passing away, new King Charles,
I can't listen to the station to hear Duke of without Spendingburg.
Oh, you think I was going to say Duke of Spendingburg? Yeah. No, I'm talking about Andrew.
Yeah.
That gross fella. But between him and the Queen passing and Charles becoming king and William and Kate taking their visit here to the U.S. and now this documentary, it's the royals who claim to want selective privacy, but they can't stay out of the news.
No. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's unfortunate that you're born into that family. However, yes, they moved to the United States to get away from that. They have now opted back in. I don't want to hear about their troubles. Oh, poor them.
Yeah.
You know what? If you don't ever want to be heard from again, get on the back of a garbage truck and get an actual real job where you have some manual labor and you're tired every night. Then we'll never hear from you again.
I'll watch the documentary.
Yeah, I probably will.
Yeah, you might be forced to. I would do it by choice, just mostly out of sheer curiosity, not because I'm idolizing them or think they're all that. I'm just curious. What do they have to say?
It's kind of like the Kardashians.
Is getting all of this attention. I mean, when the trailer is dominating pop culture, it makes me, what's the fascination here?
I think you all, especially doing what we do, we almost have to watch it just because so many other people are going to be talking about it.
Yeah.
You need to be able to chime in and at least have some answer and something to input on.
Be aware of what it's all about. You know who else can't stay out of the news no matter how hard he tries is Kanye West. Of course, we had lengthy conversations last week about his appearance on InfoWars with Alex Jones and his tirade about his feeling feelings towards Hitler. And he also posted recently on Instagram, because he can't on Twitter because he has
been banned.
He was reinstated and then blocked again. But then this Jewish UFC fighter, Nathan Levy, had a message and an invitation for Kanye.
I know you represent Israel and everything like that. There's obviously been a lot of talk in the mainstream news with what Kanye West has been saying and Kyrie Irving has been saying. So as an athlete from Israel, what do you make of everything that's happening in this country right now in the media?
Yeah, I think life is too short to hate. So to all these hateful people, sucks for you. I pity you. And other than that, Kanye West, if you got a problem with me or my people, come see me, bro.
Have you noticed kind of like when he starts saying all of these things, I feel like a lot of people on Twitter, there's this big rise, and now they think they can also say it because Kanye is saying it. Have you noticed that too?
Trust me, I've noticed it. I get a lot of lovely DMs all the time. I am Jewish. It's what I am. It's what I was born. I'm very proud of it, and I will fight for it. I will fight for my people in the octagon or wherever need be. And I will not stand for anti-Semitism. I won't stand for any racism, not around me. Don't bully anybody around me, or I'm going to find you.
That was almost a challenge for Kanye.
It was a challenge.
Come see me, bro.
Yeah.
Is what he said. So Kanye loves money, and he's going through it, so he might need some more money eventually. Would you watch that fight? I would watch that fight in a minute.
No, because I would not give my money to a crazy man.
You wouldn't give it to Kanye?
No, I would not.
Would you be rooting for the UFC fighter, though?
Oh, absolutely. So, yeah, let's talk about mental illness.
Okay.
We are clearly looking at a man who is going off the deep end, and that being Kanye West. And, yeah, maybe we'll talk later about treatment for those who are mentally ill. But yeah, we're watching somebody who clearly is having an episode who's not in his right mind, and his net worth is now down, $1 billion? When's the last time you lost $1 billion?
Never. I've never had that much to lose. I think the ratings for that fight would be off the chart.
Oh, they would.
I think people would be really interested in seeing him in the ring. It is the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC, and Kurt Darling is up next with the news.
Imagine if McDonald's was always within reach. Chicken McNuggets, golden crispy fries, all in the palm of your hand. With the McDonald's app, you don't have to imagine. Exclusive deals on all your delicious favorites are just a tap away.
Download the McDonald's app for a free Big Mac. Offer valid one time through the last day of the month for first-time app users at participating McDonald's. May take up to 48 hours to appear in your deals. McD app download and registration required.
School buses are densely packed spaces with poor ventilation, making the school bus the weakest link in a school's efforts to reduce disease transmission. Go to schoolbusair.com to learn more.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
The last day. I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending at 11:30. The runoff election in Georgia is in its final day of campaigning. Fox's Jessica Rosenthal.
Democratic incumbent Senator Raphael Warnock met up with Teamsters union members this morning, urging everyone to vote Tuesday, insisting this will come down to turnout. In this runoff race, there are no other candidates on the ballot like there were in November.
But I will say that I have Herschel Walker now right where I want him, because this race is about me and him.
While neither cracked the 50% threshold in the midterms, Warnock did beat Walker by about 1%. Jessica Rosenthal, Fox News.
7 states are suing oil companies over issues related to climate change. New Jersey, Rhode Island, Delaware, Connecticut, Massachusetts, Minnesota, and Vermont are taking ExxonMobil and Chevron to court. They're citing claims of liability and fraud. I'm Kurt Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Let's face it. The housing market has shifted. The Indiana Board of Realtors report home sales are down 11% from this time last year. But you can still sell your home for a great price with the only agent that we would trust, Mark Dietl. Look, if you want to maximize your equity now, while you can, but you're not quite sure where to move next? Reach out to Mark Dietl. Mark Dietl guarantees an offer on your home in 3 days, or he will list it for free. Get maximum convenience and maximum sales price when you work with Mark Dietl. Melinda in Indy, her kids were gone and she knew it was time to downsize into a more manageable place. She called Mark Dietl, and Mark Dietl over-delivered. Call him today, 317-755-4232, or go to markdietl.com. That's Mark, D-I-E-T-E-L, markdietl.com. Tell him Hammer and Nigel sent you.
Today, people are looking for food products that are both nutritious and sustainable. And that's why, more than ever, Indiana's pig farmers are working to make pork a leading sustainable protein by caring for their animals and the environment with the highest ethical standards. The truth is, sustainability adds value for those who buy pork and builds a better future for those who grow it. Learn more at porkcares.org. Brought to you by Indiana's pig farmers. Today, people are looking for food products that are both nutritious and sustainable. And that's why, more than ever, Indiana's pig farmers are working to make pork a leading sustainable protein by caring for their animals and the environment with the highest ethical standards. The truth is, sustainability adds value for those who buy pork and builds a better future for those who grow it. Learn more at porkcares.org. Brought to you by Indiana's pig farmers.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
Melikalikimaka is a thing to say.
Two-thirds of Americans support a border wall to stop illegal immigration.
That's the island greeting that we say.
Over 60% of these polled in a new Rasmussen poll said that the crisis at the border is a big problem, and Joe Biden's handling of it has been a disaster.
It has been. Now, me personally, I am a tall fence, wide gate kind of guy. But America was built on immigrants and us saying, you know what, bring us your sick, you're tired, you're poor, the whole thing. There has to be a mechanism to allow people in legally. But if you don't create that mechanism and you don't take care of your business, then they're going to come in illegally. So it is the lack of a process that creates the illegal immigration, but they're going to get here. I mean, we have very long borders and a very long border with Mexico, which seems to be the problem right now. But that there has to be some way to say, we understand you're coming from some other country that you don't particularly like. I was going to use the S-hole line. But regardless, these people just want a better life. I've known several of these people. Anybody who says, oh, they're coming here to take our money and they want handouts. No, these people pay into Social Security and they have no intention of ever pulling back out. They just want to be able to get a house and provide a roof over the head of their family, put food on the table. They're coming here and they want to work. Let's give them that opportunity. Let's make sure we know who they are. If they're dangerous, if they're criminals, we send them back. But let's come up with a process where we're checking everybody in, but we make it relatively easy to come in here if they're coming in for the right reasons.
Well, I think Americans are in support of stopping illegal immigration, whether it's through a wall or policy. And the issue isn't so much the wall, it's the millions of illegals coming into the country. And to your point, there needs to be a point of entry and proper procedure followed.
Right.
And the new House Democratic Caucus Chair, Pete Aguilar, said he was asked about this letter from mayors across the country, wrote this letters, and they were asking Congress to pass emergency border security measures. And his answer was not about the letter. It was that his number one goal is to do what? Oh, fund the government.
Will you be able to put in the hundreds of millions of dollars that so many mayors are asking for to shore up border security in the next few weeks? You're from California, so a number of California mayors wrote this letter this past week.
I'm not familiar with the letter. I'm a member of the Homeland Security Appropriations Committee, though. I can tell you these are conversations that we continue to have with our Republican colleagues each and every year as part of the regular order of the appropriations process. The number one goal is to fund government.
There it is. Number one goal, fund government.
No.
No, I get it. He's with the Appropriations Committee, and that's what they do. They make the budgets. But he said they only meet once a year. And they're having regular conversations. How can you have a regular...
you and I would have regular conversation out in the hallway?
Once a year, if that's the only time we're going to do it, Brad. Well, after the largest fentanyl bust with enough to kill 11 million people was stopped last week, the Biden Labor Secretary Marty Walsh says that the issue with immigration, it's not the fentanyl-wielding irregulars. That has nothing to do with it, Brad. Rather, it's their ability to get jobs.
We're so focused, some people are so focused on the southern border, and that's really not the issue. The issue of immigration is how do we make sure that companies and businesses have the opportunity to employ people.
The issue is that it's happening illegally.
Yeah.
That's the issue.
Again, I go back to there should be a legal mechanism that can handle the influx of goods and people and everything that's wanting to cross the border. And if we're not able to accomplish that, that's when you get into the illegal portion of things, because people will find a way. They're resourceful. But yes, and while we were listening to that, I was thinking, you know what? The whole purpose of the military is to keep people from invading our borders. That is like the number one job of the federal government is to protect us from invasion. Why can't we get that right? We spend all this money and put all our troops all over the world, but we cannot secure our own borders.
It is 11:38. It's the Kendall and Casey show on 93 WIBC. Brad Kloffenstein is filling in for Rob today, who is taking a well-deserved day off. And Ron DeSantis releasing his first autobiography. So this is a clear sign that he is exploring a White House run. The autobiography is going to be titled The Courage to Be Free, Florida's Blueprint for America's Revival.
So,
is he announcing without announcing?
Sort of.
But the book is supposed to be out on February 28th.
He's certainly trying to sell some books. And if he says, no, I'm not running, he will sell fewer books.
Yeah.
So it's in his best interest to keep that speculation going.
At least until February 28th when the book is released.
Until he sells out of the first run of the books. And after that, it's like, no, I never even thought about that.
So Politico did an article where they say Joe Biden is a bookstore poison. Now, this is this guy, Justin Frank. He's written books previously about President George W. Bush. He wrote one about Barack Obama. He wrote one about Donald Trump. But he's saying he's not going to give the same treatment to Joe Biden for a few reasons. One, he doesn't want to because he's exhausted. And lastly, he said that it won't sell.
It probably will not sell.
That presidential books about Joe Biden are not doing well in the bookstore.
Yeah, well, some of it is just Joe Biden and the way he carries himself. Joe Biden obviously is not the administrator in that White House, and I can see that. I mean, it's not like he has some hardscrabble background and raised himself up by his bootstraps and became a pioneer of industry and went out and championed things. He's been in government his entire life. He's old. He's got a bunch of people around him that are just kind of calling the shots. And he every once in a while checks in and says something unintelligible, and then he drifts back off to sleep. That's not going to sell books.
You think there's nothing new to explore when it comes?
No, there's not anything new. And there's not a whole lot of people that are really just excited about him being president. And I think that's one of the big things. I mean, if you look back, Clinton had a lot of just really enthusiastic supporters. Barack Obama, for a number of reasons. There's a lot of people that identified with him, and he's a champion for them. There's not a lot of people that look at Joe Biden and say, man, he's my champion.
He tweeted out over the weekend, this is the job you hired me to do. Am I making you proud? And the comments came a-rolling in.
He should, his people should know to not ask that open-ended question.
Right. And especially don't put that out there the same weekend that Elon Musk is revealing the Twitter files. But Sean Hannity is predicting that House Republicans will try to impeach Joe Biden in the coming year in relation to his son's overseas business dealings.
But when you look at this evidence, it seems overwhelming where this is going. I don't have the answer whether or not the money has influenced political decisions of Joe Biden. But we do know for sure that Joe Biden lied about talking with his son about these business dealings and that he was up to his eyeballs in it way more than he ever indicated. And that's going to be very problematic for him. And where it goes, it could be down the road of impeachment. That's my prediction for the year, okay?
The big one. You were right about Russian collusion, as was I.
Yeah. All of those conspiracy theories are no longer theories.
No.
Coming true.
There's definitely plenty of evidence out there. Mm-hmm. And, ultimately, history might say that, the biggest collusion was the Biden White House stopping the Department of Justice from moving forward on this. This goes back, Abdul, who was in here earlier, and we talk often. Mm-hmm. It's not necessarily the crime that gets you in trouble. It's the denial and continuing to deny and deny and deny. It's the lie and the denial that get you in trouble. I think Biden, when he was not serving in office, should have just said, my son has a problem and he's been talking to the Ukrainians and you know what? We're taking care of this. There's nothing to see here, but he's not said that. And with that denial in the face of all this evidence just continues to keep this at the top of the news cycle, and that's going to end up being what brings him down.
It's not the crime, it's the cover-up.
Yep.
Okay, I'd like to circle back, if we can, quickly to the story involving Kanye West and his appearance on the InfoWars with Alex Jones, and just follow me along here with this. So Benjamin Netanyahu was on Meet the Press, and Chuck Todd was asking if he will endorse Trump, and Netanyahu refuses to answer. And so that makes me question, who does endorse Trump these days, and do endorsements matter? And I'm not talking about your friend or somebody you know. I'm talking about newspapers. Newspapers are getting rid of endorsements. They don't want to do it anymore. I mean, newspapers are having a hard enough time selling what they are putting out. And if they were to endorse someone that their readers disagree with, well, that's half the audience gone. So the number's dwindling even more. But Netanyahu does evade the trap which was set from Chuck Todd, and he delivers the politically expedient response. Unlike some in this country, he's a smart politician.
Would you like to see Donald Trump as president again?
On this one.
Would you like to see Donald Trump as president again?
Oh God, I've had enough of my politics. I've just gone through 4 of our elections. You want me to get into your elections? Keep me out of it.
Would you like to see him as American president, though? Is that good for Israel in your mind?
Well, let me say that I'll deal with anyone who's elected president, those that I worked with in the past, and anyone new who comes to the plate. Because of the bond between Israel and America, and this is not a shibboleth. This is not just a saying. It really is a bond of peoples, and it's a civilizational bond, and it's strong. I'll deal with anyone, and I certainly will not step on that landmine that you just put before me, Chuck. Come on, I've been in this business long enough, and so have you. Keep trying.
Fair enough, and I appreciate you asking me to keep trying.
He's not going to step on that landmine. So he goes on to say that Trump should denounce anti-Semitism, and he says that he hopes Trump will condemn anti-Semitism after having dinner with Nick Fuentes and Kanye West last month. Let's take a listen to what he said in regards to that.
I don't know. First, let me say that President Trump did great things for Israel. He recognized Jerusalem as our capital, long overdue since King David proclaimed it as such 3,000 years ago. He moved the American embassy there. He recognized our sovereignty in the Golan Heights. He got out of what I believe is the disastrous Iran deal that would have paved Iran's path with gold, hundreds of billions of dollars of sanctions relief.
towards a nuclear arsenal. So he's done all these great things, and I appreciate it, and I remain appreciative. On this matter, on Kanye West and that other unacceptable guest, I think it's not merely unacceptable, it's just wrong. And I hope he sees his way to staying out of it and condemning it.
I find it interesting hearing world leaders talk about other former or potential world leaders. But is this the next step that Trump needs to take? Because not many people truly believe that he's anti-Semitic, but he hasn't come out and said, wrong, stop, no,
Trump
bad.
hasn't denied it. Netanyahu is a very skillful statesman.
Right.
And you can tell
clearly
just by that clip, but
yeah,
by him, he effectively said, you know what? Trump's not even the Republican nominee. Why would I go out, stick my neck out for him? Mm-hmm. He's not sticking his neck out for us. And yeah.
He did in the past, but he's not currently. What have you done for me lately, sort of thing. But I'm just curious if you're someone who still wants Trump, do you think that that's the next step he needs to take to get a bigger coalition? Does he need to say, bad, whoa, stop, no?
Yeah. I don't think one endorsement necessarily sways people, but as they start to stack up, and especially if it's people that you and I would look at and say, yeah, that is a very reasonable person. I think sometimes those endorsements do help when you can see a very broad coalition of people saying, yeah, I'm behind this person. So
yeah, food for thought. Does an endorsement from a newspaper or well-known activist or someone famous, does it mean more or less to you than someone that you know on a personal basis, a friend, a family member? Whose take do you take into consideration the most? It is the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
Hammer and Nigel Show, 3 o'clock this afternoon. Biggest stories of the day, and Guy Relford joins us in studio. We'll talk a little Delphi. 93 WIBC.
The latest local news, commentary from Tony Katz, Kendall and Casey,
5.6%
Hammer and Nigel,
Biden.
Podcasts. Listen to the station live, whenever, wherever, online at WIBC.com.
Do you get sinus infections, congestion, sinus pressure and pain, above your eyes, below your eyes, sinus headaches? You've gone to the doctor. You've visited urgent care over and over again, and it's always the same thing. I know. Let's try antibiotics and nasal sprays. But the sinus infections keep coming back. The good news? Relief is possible. How? A minimally invasive procedure done in the office of Indianapolis Sinus Center called balloon sinuplasty. Imagine the relief of not having to deal with your sinus infections anymore. Set an appointment today with Indianapolis Sinus Center and find out if balloon sinuplasty is the solution for you. Call 317-528-9650. 317-528-9650. That's 317-528-9650.
Your home is your sanctuary. Get the peace of mind you deserve with a free estimate on a Generac automatic standby generator for your home from Generator Supercenter, the nation's #1 Generac generator dealer. With expert installation and 24-hour monitoring, Generator Supercenter won't leave you in the dark. Financing is available. Take control of your power today with Generator Supercenter. Call 317-827-0808. Generator Supercenter of Indianapolis, 317-827-0808.
Downtown Indy, dressed in holiday style and adorned with bright lights and holiday sights all season long. Where friends visit Monument Circle with its festive lighting, audio and video presentations every night of the week. Make new memories while enjoying award-winning restaurants just steps away from your favorite attractions, sporting events, and performances. Come celebrate the season where it all began, downtown. Go to downtownindy.org/holidays for all the info. That's downtownindy.org/holidays.
Planning for retirement all comes down to what matters most for you. Is it a vacation home? Is it traveling the globe? You could call the team at Howard Bailey Financial to help you plan for your retirement and to help you have a successful and fulfilling retirement. Great things in business are never done by one person. They're done by a team of people, and I'm excited to share that Singer Financial is now Howard Bailey Financial, an Indiana-based retirement planning firm.
The Howard Bailey team possesses credibility at both an ethical and professional standpoint. They will deliver you a customized framework that allows you to create the meaning of retirement. Whatever you visualize retirement to be, let the Howard Bailey team customize a plan specifically for you. If you're ready for your best retirement, come forward and see the Howard Bailey difference.
Investment advisory services may be offered through Howard Bailey Securities, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Working with Howard Bailey Securities, LLC cannot guarantee investment success or that specific financial goals will be achieved.
Here's an unexpected holiday surprise for all the last-minute shoppers. This weekend, all of Diamonds Direct's earrings are 25% off. That's right, all earrings. An incredible 25% off. Diamond studs, diamond hoops, colored gemstone earrings, designer earrings, all earrings included. Who wouldn't love a beautiful pair of diamond stud earrings for Christmas? Make it happen this weekend and save an unprecedented 25%. Best prices of 2022. Special financing available too. Friday through Sunday only. And only at Diamonds Direct.
When a cold comes on strong, knock it out with Vicks DayQuil Severe for max strength daytime relief. Just one dose of Vicks DayQuil Severe starts to relieve 9 of your worst cold and flu symptoms to help take you from 9 to none. Power through your day with Vicks DayQuil Severe, the daytime non-drowsy, coughing, aching, fever, sore throat, 9 to none medicine. Use as directed.
Tune in Saturdays 9 to 1 for the Home and Garden Show for plenty of advice and fun, brought to you by Michaelis. Water, storms, fire, and foundation, life happens. Michaelis happens to help you through it.
Hey, we're pretty social people at WIBC. You can find us all over social media. See what we're up to on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, and on YouTube. We're never more than just away. Just search for 93 WIBC.
You better watch out. You better not cry. You better not.
So everyone has their own family traditions when it comes to the holidays, but here is one grandma who's taking it next level. She's going extreme. So this grandma charges her children and her grandkids for Christmas dinner. It's a tradition that's evolved over the years from a tip jar now just to a flat fee. She says that this spreads the cost evenly to everyone at the table. And she charges adults $18 per meal. The 12-year-olds and the 9 grandchildren have to pony up $6 each. And she's got a couple young toddler grandchildren, and they're charged $3 each. And she said she's on a budget. This teaches fiscal responsibility. Everybody who comes to the table, they know about this now, and they're actually not allowed to sit down and eat until all the bank accounts say that they are paid in full. So what do you think? Is this fiscal responsibility, or is this total Scrooge material?
Nothing says Christmas spirit like a cover charge at Grandma's. I saw this. I'm like, I don't even know what to think about this, because on the one hand, it seems kind of Scroogey. I mean, it's a pitch-in. Typically, it's a pitch-in. People bring what they can.
Bring a
Everybody
dish
kind of, there is more work for the host. There's no doubt about it. On the other hand, I also know sometimes we have people over. Oftentimes, I've seen family members who'll come over, and if they bring anything, it'll be like a 6-pack of Busch Light, and then they'll drink all my good bourbon.
Well, and that's what this grandma says, is that the dinner includes wine and soft drinks and crackers and nuts and cheese and steaks, and it can get more expensive. And even if you're bringing a dish, your green bean casserole is an equivalent to the wine that you're drinking. So she makes it even for everybody.
So I can see her point, but I think that might say more about how she raised her family. If they're not willing to kick in without her saying there's a fee attached to it, you know what? Trust your kids and say, listen, I need you to help out. And instead of bringing just the green beans this year, can you bring like 2 sides? What about the mashed potatoes also?
And lay a 20 on the table on your way out, please. All right, Brad, thank you so much for being here today. I really appreciate that.
Thanks, Casey. It's been a blast.
And you'll be back next Monday.
I will.
And Kevin, good job. And Rob Kendall is back tomorrow, and we're going to count on you to be here. It is the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
Feel like you're riding an economic roller coaster? All the whiplash has likely wreaked havoc on your investment portfolio, maybe even derailing your future plans. It's unpredictable, uncertain, and unsettling. It's time to regain your footing with a second opinion from Edelman Financial Engines. We're Barron's #1 rated independent financial advisory firm 5 years running. So you can be confident you're getting integrated wealth management advice, including tax planning, estate planning, insurance, and more from an experienced and trusted investment advisory firm. Take advantage of a complimentary wealth checkup with a planner who puts your needs first. There's no sales pressure and no obligation. When it comes to your financial well-being, you can count on the top-rated independent financial advisory firm in the nation. Visit Edelman Financial Engines at efewealthplanners.com. That's efewealthplanners.com. Barron's rating awarded annually each September 2018 to 2022. Compensation paid for distribution of rating.
You had a solid retirement dream. Sell your home in a few years, bank the equity, downsize, and travel. But inflation and recession has you wondering if all of your hard-earned equity will still be there. What if you could recession-proof your equity right now? You can with Truehold. Truehold will buy your home for its best current value before a recession can erode it. You get to bank all the cash now and live in your home for as long as you want. And Truehold covers all property taxes, insurance, repairs, and maintenance. And since Truehold pays your home's current value in cash now, it's yours to do whatever you'd like. Don't wait for inflation, recession, and interest rates to erode your home's value. Visit Truehold.com and discover how much Truehold will buy your home for today based on its best current value, not what's coming. Call 1-855-300-9993 or visit Truehold.com. The smarter, fastest way to cash out on your home's value without having to move. That's Truehold.com.
People here are raving about QC Kinetics and how regenerative medicine has changed their life. People like Helen, an avid mountain climber who got sidelined when an accident left her knees in constant pain.
I was not able to train or do really anything on my knee.
Helen was told surgery would be her only option. But then she found QC Kinetics and was treated with natural biologics designed to repair and restore tissue in her knees. 3 months later, she was climbing the highest mountain in North America.
I got a very quick resolution to my pain. I began treatment in March, and I summited Denali June the 7th. It was super successful, and I recommend everyone seek out QC Kinetics as an alternative to surgery.
Get your life back with lasting results. No surgery, no drugs, no downtime. Call QC Kinetics today.
Call QC Kinetics, 317-559-PAIN. That's 317-559-PAIN. 317-559-PAIN. That's 317-559-PAIN.
When the weather turns severe, turn to the WIBC Storm Desk, presented by Technology Recyclers. Securely destroy electronic data. Visit tech-recyclers.com.
Jewelry, rings, diamonds, and watches are just a few possible Christmas gifts at Pierce Jewelers. Let them help you celebrate that special moment with your loved one. Shop local, shop smart, shop Pierce Jewelers.
On the level, on the go. 93 WIBC Indianapolis.
Coming up, 10,000 bones and bone fragments.
Insisting this will come down to turnout.
Drivers have to wait a little bit longer.
Those are the two names that